race fans, and welcome to another edition of the Triple M Pulling Truck Series here live on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. My name is William Tiller, and here tonight I am joined by Hunter Parsons up here in the booth, and Adam Flieger is the man behind the decks. Here tonight we are taking on the great state of Texas, and everything is bigger here in this great state of Texas. And here tonight the action will be even more bigger here tonight, Hunter, as we're coming off Stephen Like's huge performance at the Tricky Triangle. Let's see if Stephen can continue that on here tonight. What do you expect from Texas Motor Speedway?
For sure. Thanks for having us again tonight. And tonight we're looking at a really big field here. I believe we're pushing over 42 drivers is what I'm looking at right now. So a very full field here for the NASRA 360 Triple M Pulling Truck Series trucks here at Texas. I think it's going to be a little bit of a challenging race for a lot of these drivers. Texas, for those who don't know, it's very tricky to get around, save and manage tires. And talking to some of these drivers beforehand, track's very loose, so tire wear going to be a big thing tonight.
Yeah, in a track that looks almost similar to Charlotte, what's a way to get around this track? Can you go off of anything from Charlotte Motor Speedway, or as you mentioned, this is a totally different animal?
Yes and no compared to Charlotte. Very similar track configuration. You kind of have that little bit of a tri-oval through that front stretch, wide corners, but you're carrying a lot more momentum through here. 1 and 2, you really got to learn to back up that corner entry a little bit, manage that right front tire. But 3 and 4 here, it almost seems like you can drive a little bit harder right on the bottom of that white line and ultimately still have a really good run. But ultimately, 140 laps here tonight, it's going to be a task on who can be almost diligent with their tires.
Yeah, let's see who'll take the victory here tonight in the Pultz Poppers 200. Now, Hunter, I was absent from last week's race at Pocono. For the folks that were just like me that unfortunately missed that race last week, what are some of the takeaways from last week?
Last week, it was overall a very good race from a lot of drivers. Stephen Light, as you kind of mentioned earlier, very dominating performance last week. He led all but a handful of laps. We saw a lot of misfortune on a restart from D4 of Adam Newbert. Hopefully he can get that point in the right direction tonight. And took out a lot of heavy hitters. Keith Bradley, Robbie Richards was one of them, I believe. A lot of good drivers taken out. So that kind of opened up the door for opportunity for a lot of guys that we don't typically talk about here in the broadcast booth. But ultimately, it was Stephen Light and Stephen Thomas coming down to almost a photo finish there at the end of that one. So very good finish. I know some people weren't happy with second last week. Top 3, all right. But tonight, some drivers are going to be looking for some vengeance after last week's finish.
Indeed, and every series that NASRA puts on here, the NASRA 360 Racing Network always has a little bit of competitive edge. It always gets the juices going week in and week out. And here tonight, we just watched Ted Wade now on the top of this qualifying grid. Just ran a 30-30 right there. But looking at that grid also, Hunter, it's very, very tight. And you just spoke about it, how tight these races are. I don't think you can get any more tight than these qualifying times currently on the grid.
For sure. Like we keep talking throughout the season, very stacked field. So every qualifying position you can get to start yourself up front is going to be a big advantage. You definitely don't want to be starting that middle to the back of the pack, especially right now with what these drivers are saying with the track conditions, the heat, and just ultimately such a full field. It's surely going to be wild until we start having drivers figure out where they're going to be, where they want to situate themselves until everything kind of almost pans out throughout the field.
And speaking of panning out, we just spoke about just a little while ago the performance that Stephen Light put forth at the Tricky Triangle, dominating that race there, Hunter. I think we're going to get a chance to catch up with him here in just a second. He led 77 laps in that race, started first, had the fastest lap time in that race as well. But I believe you're catching up with last week's winner, Stephen Light.
Stephen, it's Will and Hunter in the booth. You got us. Stephen Light, you got us here in the booth at NASRA 360 Racing Network.
All right, I'm back, guys. Zach, you there?
Stephen, it's Will and Hunter in the booth. We talked about your performance last week at Pocono. very dominating. I believe 77 laps led, started on the pole, and just never looked back. What's it going to take to repeat that dominant run tonight? As we look right now in the qualifying order, you're sitting fourth, very good position. What's it going to take to bring it home again tonight?
It's going to take a lot of tire management. This track's a lot worse on tires than Pocono was, so you're just going to have to really manage your stuff the entire run every time you put a new set on. I think it's going to come down to tires at the end of this race versus what it was last weekend. Definitely a good lap by Ted Wade. I was running some 20s practicing qualifying earlier in practice and just underdrove the turn 1 and 2 a little bit, but still a good starting spot, and hopefully keep it clean and have a good race.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned that qualifying position. How important is it to put in a good lap, especially at somewhere like Texas, where you mentioned that tire wear is going to be a little bit tricky tonight, and overall just the handling of the truck is going to be a lot different?
I think not being on the front row starting off, I think it's a little easier to manage your stuff because really everyone's just trying to ride the first half of the run, 3/4 of the run. So not being the one setting the pace, I think it allows you to, as long as you keep the guy in front of you, first few guys in front of you in sight, you can save your stuff a little bit better than leading the race. I've always thought it was harder to save your tires leading a race than it is to be behind a few guys. So we'll just try to keep our stuff under it for as long as we can in each stage and at the end, and hopefully have enough when it's time to go those last 8 to 10 laps that we can get some good track position, and get some good stage points and be there at the end.
For sure, you mentioned stage points, being there at the end. Big combination of things that got to go right to pull it off again like you did last week. So we'll let you get back to your team as qualifying is going to be expiring here in the next minute or so, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you a little bit more throughout the night.
Sounds great. Appreciate it.
Again, that was your last week's winner, that 97 BP Racing for Autism, number 97 of Stephen Light, currently rolling off fifth on the grid tonight, Will.
Yeah, rolling off fifth currently right now. We look at Ted Wade at the top of the grid. We have Bradley up there. Nathan Maurer is a winner so far here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. He won our first race of the season here in this series. Look at Hardwick right there in fourth. Just spoke about Stephen Light in fifth. Thomas in sixth. Newbert in seventh. Right now, Painter is in eighth. Lothian in ninth. And McKinnon, nice little qualifying run from Mike McKinnon there, and currently in the 10th position. Now, Hunter, we talked about how the Texas Motor Speedway is a little bit different. Are we going to see any kind of 3-wide racing here tonight, or is the draft going to be the biggest aspect of tonight's race?
I think you're going to see some 3-wide racing right here at the beginning. You're going to want to try and pick up as many positions as you can, as quick as you can. After 7, 8, 9, 10 laps, those tires are going to start to fall off, and making some passes are going to be tricky once those tires heat up. The truck gets really tight, so at that point it's going to become a momentum deal where you're going to want to maybe do a little bit of tandem drafting to just keep up that space. But once you get down to those corners, the truck's going to get very tight and very quick. So you're going to see a lot of guys pushing up. Once you do that side-by-side battle, it's definitely going to get a little tricky for that car on the bottom, not being able to have that speed and momentum.
Yeah, as we're now watching the conclusion of the qualifying session. Looks like Ted Wade will start on the pole here tonight. Already put some cash money in his pocket to start off the race here tonight. As we await the field to go ahead and get gridded up, ready for that drop of the green flag here in week number 3, the Triple M Pulling Truck Series here on these fantastic Friday nights, Hunter. We're going to break down the format of tonight's Pultz Poppers 200. We're going to run stage 1 of 40 laps. Stage 2 will be 80. That's 40 laps in between, and the end of the race will happen on lap 140. That will give us a run of 60 laps. But go ahead, Hunter, and start off what our starting grid will look like here tonight.
Rolling off the pole tonight will be the number 2 of Ted Wade, top 4 runner last year in the point series. To his outside, number 29 of Keith Bradley. To that second row is going to be your point leader right now, the 971 of Nate Maurer. To his outside, Zach Hartwick in the 93. Next row will be your winner from last week, the 97 of Stephen Light. And to his outside, the 23 of Stephen Thomas. From there on back, we go to the number 4 of Adam Newbert. And to his outside, the 99 of Devin Painter. Row number 5 will be the 43 of Blake Lillian. And to his outside, the number 13 of Michael McKinnon.
And 11th, we have Justin Lumpkin right there. 12th, we have Chris Cinnamon racing out of Canada. In the 13th position, we have Joey Doucette. In 14th, we have Mason Maggio. In the 15th position, Jose Luis Rivera. In 16th, we have Robert Richards. In 17th, we have Taylor Peacock. In 18th, Dana Shepard. 19th, Troy Pitts. And in 20th, we have Derek Kilgore.
Rolling off in that 21st position, we got the number 9 of Chris Blanchard, and his outside the 53 of CJ Fonda. Row number 12 is going to see the 30 of Ron Hunter, and to his outside the 22 of Jeff Sickles. Next row is going to see the 42 of Ed Osborne, and to his outside the 37 of Raul Meza. 27 will be the 94 of Eric Zimmerman, and to his outside the 00 of Huck Wigington. Rolling off from inside row number 15 is going to be the 5 of Jacob Klinkart, and to his outside the 72 of Jason Stevenson.
In the 31st position, we have Johnny Lawrence. In the 32nd position, we have Bill Hales. 33rd, Brendan Bullock. 34, Kyle Hess. In the 35th position, we have Hayden right there. In the 36th position, we have Brian Abbott. 37th, Keith Haney. 38th, Dan Hagan. 39th, Cody Knott. 40th, TJ Moore. 41st is Clint Mata. In the 42nd position, Jimmy Emos. And rounding out tonight's starting grid will be James Morris in the 96 machine.
Very full field here tonight at Texas for the Pultz Poppers 200. 42 trucks, I believe, will actually make the call tonight. So, well, we're in for a really good one tonight here with a full field at our first mile-and-a-half track of the season.
As I mentioned, the action is bigger here in the great state of Texas, just like everything else in this great state. You see the stars on that outside wall. You see the trucks ready to go. Ted Wade's coming off in an excellent performance last night in an Xfinity car. Let's see if he can keep that competitiveness going here tonight, as this pace truck will take us around the last set of corners as we await the drop of the green flag here in week number 3 of the Triple M Pulling Truck Series here, live on the NASRA 360 Racing Network.
You mentioned the number 2 at Ted Wade last night, having a really good run at Las Vegas. Last season, he was one of your top 4 contenders for that championship, ultimately falling short to that 23 of Stephen Thomas. This season, Ted Wade, not a full-time runner, but still one to be watching throughout his part-time career here in the Friday night Premier Series of the NASRA trucks.
As we check out Ted Wade right now, I believe we are still under caution, awaiting the start of tonight's event. Pace truck's going to take us around, looks like one more time around this racetrack. And, Hunter, as we have this one more lap to discuss this real quick, you just spoke about Ted Wade. Who else do you have your eye on here tonight?
The last few weeks, that his partner on that front row, that 29 of Keith Bradley, he's had some unfortunate luck at Daytona. Getting caught up in a caution wreck. Last week, he got bad pit stop under caution, and then that next restart I mentioned, the 4 of Newbert, having a bad shift and ultimately taking out Bradley as one of the cars in that wreck. So Keith Bradley certainly looking for a nice bounce back here.
Yeah, definitely. You got to also keep your eye out on the 2 winners here so far this season. Nathan Maurer in that 971 and Stephen Light, both who will start inside the top 5 at the drop of the green flag here tonight. Nathan Maurer with an incredible performance to kick off the season. Stephen Light with another dominating performance at Pocono here now in week number 3. Let's see who can join those 2 drivers in the playoffs here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. But here we go, race fans. The pace truck will take us off of corner number 4 as we await the drop of the green flag. Barney is ready. We're ready up here in the booth. Let's get a great big Texas yeehaw as we're going green flag racing here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series as Ted Wade takes us down in corner number 1.
Very good start for that 2 machine of Ted Wade getting out front. We kind of talked, Stephen Light kind of talked about earlier, he didn't want to be that leader. He didn't want to be out front setting the pace, burning up those tires, but Ted Wade certainly has the ability, the skill level to be out front and still manage his equipment.
So far as Ted Wade takes us off of corner number 4, still our race leader right now here on lap number 1. He will lead the first lap here in the Pultz Poppers 200 across the line. Ted Wade still is our race leader down to corner number 1.
Your front 10 or so trucks looking to be single file from there on back. They are going to be doubled up. Right now you're looking at the 23, I believe the 23 of Stephen Thomas and the 99 of Devin Painter going side by side through turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, Devin Painter on the outside in the 99 machine, the only truck out there so far. Just a feeling out process here on lap number 3. Yes, Ted Wade still is our race leader down into the corner. It is the single file line down to about that position you just spoke about, to about the 5th position here on the racetrack. As Ted Wade is checking out, Keith Bradley is checking out in that 2nd position as well. Now, I was going to ask you here, Hunter, here on lap number 3, as we cruise around corners 3 and 4 right now, do you feel like this is going to be sort of this pace here in stage number 1, a very feeling out process to get to know one another, and then you'll start to see the action pick up in stage number 2?
Yeah, for sure. I think we'll see a lot of that almost week in and week out. We've seen that even last night for those who watched on the NASRA 360 network last night at Vegas. The first stage, we almost went green to checkered, one small caution. Stage 2, we saw, I believe, 2, 3, 4 cautions even. So I think that first stage is more of a feeling, trying to get to that end of that first stage before it almost becomes gloves off, ready for stage 2.
Yeah, as we watch Ted Wade still is our race leader so far here on the racetrack. As I mentioned to kick off, right before that starting grid was shown on your screen, race fans. Here in stage number 1, we'll race it down to lap number 40. And we're going to race it down to lap 80. That's 40 laps in that stage. Then the conclusion of tonight's race will happen on lap 140. That's a 60-lap shootout to close out the proceedings here in week number 3. These drivers here tonight will have 4 sets of tires with 100% fuel capacity in these trucks here tonight. And Hunter, a rule that I love here in NASRA is there's no fast repairs for these drivers. So you have to be ultra technical and ultra finesse getting around one another, or else your night can end early.
For sure, you don't want to put yourself in a position to have that misfortune very, very early on, as we're looking right now on board with that number 4 of Adam Newbert, the 97 of Stephen Light, trying to find a way around that 4 machine, doing all that he can. But like you mentioned, no fast repair. You got to do it cleanly. You don't want to end up ruining your race or someone else's along with you.
You're right on board with Adam Newbert in that 4 machine. Adam, as you mentioned here in that Xfinity over-the-top designs Xfinity series here, you can catch that Thursday night on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. Adam had a tough night in that race, kept trying everything he could to stay in contention, just didn't pan out for him in last night's race. Here tonight, though, currently inside the top 5, just ahead of last week's winner, Stephen Like, in that 97 machine. Stephen put forth a great effort at the tricky triangle. We touched on it. We got a chance to catch up with a 97 machine who had the fastest lap, qualified first, led the most laps, and then went out of the Pennsylvania with that win. Right now, Stephen Like is up to the 4th position as we dig down to corner number 3.
Yeah, he got to that inside of the number 4 Newbert. And as I say that, the 23 is going to try and follow suit of that 97. Going to push Newbert out wide a little bit and allow the 23 of Stephen Thomas, your last season champion, to get that run to his inside to crack into that top 5 position.
We'll get that ticker working for you folks at home in just a little while. Currently just showing the top 5 on the racetrack, which is bookended by that 23 machine that you just touched on of Thomas right now. Here we're on lap number 9 here in the Pultz Poppers 200 as Ted Wade, so as our race leader, just put down a 30.4 as we go along the front stretch, make it lap 10 down to corner number 1.
Yeah, right now that 2 and 29 machine teammates right now on that Upfront Motorsports team. Currently, I believe a 3-second gap right now to that 3rd place position. So those two are definitely checking out of this one early. While you're looking on board right now, that 971 of Nathan Maurer, your 2 winners from this season already, trying to battle out for that top 3 position. As you're looking at that 97, he's going to close the gap really tight on that 971 in the corner, get that run off through 3 and 4, and take that position as they go across the line, this time by right now Stephen Thomas, just following suit with that Stephen Light machine. And Will, last week, I'm not sure if you had to catch up on it while you're on vacation, as we have a caution right now, but those two ultimately last week definitely made that race interesting towards those last 3 or 4 laps. Stephen Thomas had pretty big gap between him and the leader. Last lap, Stephen Light kind of missed that little hairpin corner there off in turn 2, and ultimately gave Stephen Thomas a chance for that win.
Yeah, as we wait to see what brought out our first caution of the night here, as we check out this on the pole instant replay here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. Looks like Raul Meza in the 37 is going to clip the one right there. The one's going to do a little tumbling there here in Texas. Going to hit the outside wall, going to tumble down the racetrack there just a little bit. Going to catch up to see who that one machine is. Looking like a stormtrooper here at Texas Motor Speedway. All white. That's Chris Hacker there. That's going to basically get clipped on the right back fender there. That truck right across the start finish line. That's going to send Chris right into that topside wall.
Yeah, unfortunate for Chris Hacker. He's a newcomer in the league tonight. This is his first race out. Certainly not the opening he'd like to have here tonight. It just looks like he gets clipped by the 37er Raul Meza, and after that he's just along for the ride.
Yeah, and that's just a strange move for me there, Hunter, because Raul is a veteran, I would have to say, here in NASRA and across all sorts of iRacing leagues there. Knows exactly what he's doing on the track, but right there just looked a little curious to me. Maybe Raul was trying to get ready for that corner number one down there, maybe slowing down a little bit. Just maybe didn't know that Chris was there to the inside. Just looks like maybe a little bit of an incidental contact there on that back right fender. But unfortunately, as you mentioned for Chris, that will end his night early here tonight.
Yeah, unfortunate for a few other drivers. I believe it grabbed the 98 of Jimmy Emos and the 30 of Ron Hunter. All three of those drivers going a lap down here early on in this first stage.
Yeah, it's not the way you want your night to start off there, Hunter, as right now we watch Ted Wade here under caution here in week number 3 of the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. And we see exactly the 98 machine. Jimmy Emos looks like he's going to stay out on the track, but it looks like he's going to go around and go to the tail end of this pack here, Hunter.
Yeah, maybe he got just with the scoring right now showing a lap down, but luckily for that 98, doesn't look like he has too much damage, so he will continue on for the rest of this one.
Yeah, very long race. A lot of race still to play out here, race fans. As we check out that grid right there, looking at Robbie Richards down there in the 16th position in the 48. Looking at Jose Rivera in the 17th position. A lot of names currently outside of the top 15 could still be in contention at the end of this race.
For sure, it's a long race. Some of these guys, we talk about it almost every week. They might just not have the qualifying effort down, but they have their long race strategy in plan. So some of these drivers like Chris Cinnamon, we see right now outside the top 10. He's always a threat to have week in and week out. So right now he's currently trying to make his way through the field here early on. Still at 14 of 140, so plenty of time for that number 3 machine.
Plenty and time indeed there, Hunter. And we look at some of the key aspects of tonight's race, and these drivers will only have 4 sets of tires. Now, you look at how many laps we have here tonight. We have 140 laps. How do you go about that tire strategy of figuring out when to use those sets?
Yeah, so right now these guys are looking at, I believe, 4 stops, I believe, on their fuel. So 3 extra sets of tires for these guys to take, so they can take a set at the end of this stage, end of the second stage. Well, for that 60 laps in that final stage, they only have 1 set left. So my mistake, they'll have a three stop race. So if that last stage goes green, you almost need to plan that out accordingly. So if you want to take tires in the first 2 stages, you only have 1 set left for that third stage, or you can save your tires now and not take a set at the end of this stage and stretch it all the way to the end of stage 2, leaving yourself with 2 extra sets in that last stage if there is a late race caution, where we kind of saw that last night at the end of stage 1 where Dustin Scruggs took a set late in stage 1 but was able to drive through the field within a lap or 2 to get second in that stage. So new tires are definitely going to be a key here tonight.
As we watch the pace truck take us around one more time, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to tonight's race here on this fantastic Friday night. And as we have this chance here under the first caution, we invite everybody that's watching along with us here on YouTube, here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network, to shout out who you're cheering on here tonight. Who do you think is going to take home the week number 3 victory here at Texas? We have our picks here. You picked, well, you're looking down the grid there just a little bit, Keith Bradley in that 29 machine. You know, I like Nathan Maurer in that 971, but it could always be somebody new here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series.
For sure. There's always a bunch of heavy hitters in here. And honestly, looking at the list right now, anyone in that top 15 could easily pull away with a win here tonight. It's just all going to come down to that last pit stop in that final stage. When you take your set of tires, any little bit of luck or anything like that. So definitely anyone could win here tonight, or any week for that fact.
Anyone, any week, any given Sunday, as they say in football. But as the pace truck pulls off of that lead pack, we are coming off of corner number 4. Ted Wade will take the green flag, and we are green flag racing once again. Lap 16, Ted Wade takes us down into corner number 1.
Gonna get a really good restart from that outside line on his teammate, that 29 of Keith Bradley. Gonna put himself back out in front here with just about 24 laps to go in this stage here. Everyone single filed out through that top 7 or 8 drivers, but we got a little bit of 3-wide action back there, as we mentioned early on, Will. Right now, looking like the 81 of Peacock, the 64, I believe it is, along with, I believe, the 18 of Lumpkin even on that outside.
Yeah, very busy back here as we come across that triover here at Texas Motor Speedway. It's very jumbled there. We see the 18 right there in the mix. Some other drivers, they were temporarily 3 wide on the front stretch, now off of corner number 2. We're back to single file racing. A lot of jumbledness here as we dig down to corner number 3. A lot of drivers jockeying for position.
For sure, those caution flag laps, not caution flag laps, but once you get those restarts, those are your money moves. Those are the times you got to make your passes. You got to get as many positions as possible. Otherwise, you see what we see right now. You go single file, it's hard to make up that ground. So restarts definitely going to be a key factor to ultimately trying to pull off a win tonight.
And you see that 18 machine right there, the green machine of the 18. You see right there, as you mentioned, Hunter, as we're keeping an eye out on this pack here as we come around 3 and 4, it's exactly what you're talking about. You see a lot of drivers trying to inch forward, trying to increase their position on the grid, but it's just very, very difficult here at Texas.
For sure. And a lot of it has to do with this turn 1 and 2 especially. You get too high, you almost scrub speed while you're running that top side, but if you're running that very bottom groove, as we don't see a lot of drivers doing right now, it really wears down that right front tire. You got to stay right about a lane to lane and a half off the bottom, and then we go down in turn 3 and 4, and you need to be right on that white line as we see the 64 right there. That's where the speed is at here at this racetrack tonight.
As we watch right now here on lap 20, we have 21 laps to go here in stage number 1. So far, still been Ted Wade at the top of the grid. We got Stephen Light currently in the 2nd position. Keith Bradley right there, you spoke about that 29 machine is currently in 3rd. Stephen Thomas up 2 positions from the drop of the green flag, currently in 4th. Adam Newbert in the 4 machine up 2 spots from the drop of the green flag up to 5th. Nathan Maurer sliding just a little bit down the grid down to 6th. Devin Painter is in 7th. Blake Lothian has slowly but surely worked his way up there, up 1 spot from the drop of the green flag in that 43 machine, currently in the 8th position. Chris Cinnamon, you spoke about him here tonight, Hunter, up 3 spots from the drop of the green flag up to 9th. But Zach Hartwig starting to slide down 6 spots from the drop of the green flag down into 10th.
For sure, and some of these drivers might just be biding their time, trying to stay alive, because still got 20 laps to go, 19 to go this time by in the stage. 40 laps is a long time on these tires, Will, and you almost got to know when to hold off and then when to just take off and try and go and get up front as quick as you can. And mentioning of getting up front, looking right now, that 2nd position was taken over by the 97 of Stephen Light, so almost he might be flipping that switch. Time to go, trying to get that stage win here, as he is looking like he's closing the gap a little bit on that 2 machine of Ted Wade.
Yeah, he's just a little bit faster than our leader. Looking at those lap times that just went by, Ted Wade laid a 31 flat, but Stephen Light ran a 30.9, so just a little bit faster currently than our race leader, and he is right on that back bumper of that 2 machine. As we dig down to corner number 3, we see Stephen Light riding on board with the 97, see if he can battle for the lead as we go to the apex of 3 and 4.
Yeah, and I mentioned it, about 17 or 18 to go on the stage, and to touch on what you said earlier, or what Steven even said, he doesn't want to be up front. He wants to keep that car in front of him close. So he might just be toying with Ted Wade right now, trying to get him to push a little bit harder, save those tires. Oh, as the 2 gets a little bit loose off of turn 2, that's going to open the door for the 97 to Steven Light. There you have a new race leader heading down the backstretch into turn number 3 and 4. He's going to bring the 29 of Keith Bradley with him to take over that second position. But all eyes right now back on that 97 of Steven Light, taking the lead back once again, trying to continue from last week's win at Pocono.
Yeah, Stephen Light, our new race leader, takes us down to corner number 1 here on lap number 25. Took Keith Bradley along for the ride. Now Ted Wade is slid down into the 3rd position just by getting a little loose on the exit of corner number 2. As you mentioned, Hunter, though, Stephen Light is trying to pick up where he left off last week at the Tricky Triangle of Pocono. As mentioned, put forth a dominant performance, trying to replicate that here as we make it lap 26 down to corner number 1.
Right now they're coming up on a lap car. That's going to be a 37 of Raul Meza. But that 29, he's not letting go of that 97 so easily. They came through that tri-oval, and Keith Bradley was sucked up right to that left rear of Steven Light, trying to get him a little bit of a bump and run to try and get around him here. But Keith Bradley certainly not one to back away from a challenge here.
Keith Bradley so far here in this series been one of the strongest competitors. Oh, as you see, Stephen Light's going to brush the topside wall there off of corner number 4. That's definitely going to kill the momentum of the 97 machine, as Keith Bradley easily is going to go to the inside there, slices through that position like a butter knife. Off of 2, though, Stephen Light is not going to let the light go out on his chances here, as he is battling now to the inside of Keith Bradley down into 3.
Steven Light and Keith Bradley, I think we're going to be talking a lot about these 2 drivers going back and forth all season. Certainly 2 drivers that have shown their dominance very early on in the season here, as they're going to go side by side across the line this time by give the lead back to the 97 of Steven Light down into turn 1 and 2.
It could be lap 1, it could be lap 10, it could be lap 139. These drivers don't care, as they are side by side off the exit of corner number 2. We have quite a battle for the lead down to corner number 3, still side by side drag racing around Texas Motor Speedway.
One person that's got to be liking this right now is the 2 of Ted Wade. These 2 drivers racing side by side, definitely using up a little bit more tire wear than what Ted is right now. So right now, Ted's just kind of riding and biding his time until the end of the stage.
Yeah, he's got a courtside seat to this action in front of him, as we see Stephen Light is going to just get in front of Keith Bradley on the exit of 2. As we're down the backstretch right now, Stephen Light is now back to the top of the grid, down to 3 and 4, still on board with the 2 machine of Ted Wade.
Right now, I'm looking at the top 5 or 6, 7 drivers. They're starting to close up on a gap of each other. Right now, Adam Newbert looking to take over that 4 position from the 23 of Stephen Thomas. So Adam Newbert here on a late stage charge, I should say, with just 11 laps to go.
Yeah, in a sleeper pick, as you mentioned, to start this race off here on lap number 30. We have about 11 laps to go here in stage number 1. Chris Cinnamon up 6 spots from the drop of that green flag up to 6th. As you mentioned, that gap is starting to close between these positions here at the top of the grid and the rest of the field, and I think it's being led by the 3 machine of Chris Cinnamon.
Yeah, right now Stephen Light driving away, but a 3-car battle here for second, and we kind of missed it off stream there, but the 23 of Stephen Thomas made contact with the wall outside of turn 2. That's going to drop him all the way down to 9th and give Cinnamon back up to 6th, but right now a 3-car battle, almost 4-car battle for that second position between the 29 of Bradley, the 2 of Ted Wade, the 4 of Adam Newbert, and the 971 of Nate Maurer.
You see right there, Ted Wade is in between Keith Bradley, that 29. Adam Newbert in that 4. Ted Wade saw his dreams shatter there as he got loose off of corner number 2 just a little while ago. Now having to battle the rest of the field to stay inside the top 5. As we come off of 2 right now, Keith Bradley still going to hold that position. There goes Adam Newbert to the inside of Ted Wade, trying to take a position away from that 2 machine. Nathan Maurer is going to follow him to the inside here on 3 and 4. We have a battle as we're side by side on the exit of 4.
You gotta think to wonder, did that number 2 use up his tires early on in that stage when we watched him drive away from the 29 of Bradley? You almost gotta think for this next stage, or even stage 3, what can he take to learn from that and ultimately try and gain that extra bit of ground to have it at the end of the stage, as now he's going to be getting passed by the 971 of Maurer for that fourth spot.
And now, Hunter, as we dig down to corners number 3 and 4 right now, still our race leaders pulling away just a little bit. We saw Keith Bradley in that 29. For Ted Wade, now this is a question for a driver's aspect there, Hunter. If you get loose one time, are you starting to second guess how you're driving around the track? Because it looks like Ted Wade now is starting to fight that truck a little bit after getting loose off of 2.
Yeah, you almost drive with a little bit more hesitancy, especially being this early on in the race. If this was lap 120, I'm sure you would see a totally different Ted Wade where he would drive back through the field as hard as he can. We kind of saw that last night with him in that third stage, making a little bit of contact through that tri-oval last night, and ultimately still driving really hard and came back up to a third place finish there. So Ted certainly not one to shy away from a little bit of a loose truck, but certainly all eyes will be on him throughout the rest of this one too, as we are watching right now the battle for second with Newbert and Bradley. Newbert going to be taking over that second spot, try and track down your current race leader, the 97 of Stephen Light.
Yeah, and talking about loose trucks, I think I could see it all the way up here in the booth. Adam Newbert had to grab that wheel as hard as he could. That thing was so close to going sideways there on the front stretch. You saw that quick correction on that wheel to save that machine, and that saved the 29. That saved the rest of the trucks behind these guys as well. As Adam Newbert, coming off with 2, was going to hold on to that second position. You see Keith Bradley right there in third, but a battle for 4th down to corner number 3.
Blake Lothian looking to the inside of the number 2 machine to Ted Wade. He will get by him this time, and we see Ted Wade getting a little loose there, and gonna give up the 4th and 5th spot to Nathan Maurer, the 971. Well, one thing to keep in mind is right now these tires, they're getting very slick, they're very warm, and we have a very high track temp right now. Track temp up to 115, 116 degrees, so very warm track temp, making these trucks handle very, very tough. Right now, these drivers, they're fighting a tight truck, but from a driving aspect, once you break that tightness, that truck's going to free up very quickly. So you almost have to be on high alert at all times with the wheel.
Yeah, exactly, Hunter, and you touched on it there. The tires are getting slicker. The lap times are getting slower here as we're coming to the end of stage number 1. We have just about 3 laps to go here in this stage. Stephen Light is currently our race leader down the backstretch right now, has a pretty cushioned lead there at the top. We have Keith Bradley in the second position, but not for long though, as he has Blake Lothian there to the inside there in that 43 truck. As you see, if he can get around Keith there on the exit of 4, he does just that, as we have a new second place truck with 2 laps to go here in stage number 1.
A correction, that will be a third place truck. Newbert still tracking down your race leader. He is actually putting down some pretty quick lap times right now, reeling in that 97 machine, as the 43 does clear Bradley for that third spot.
Yeah, that was my mistake there, as Adam Newbert, and you just touched on it there, Hunter, as we come around 3 and 4 right there, is gaining some traction there on the 97 machine. Now, whether or not he'll have enough time here, as we have 1 to go here in stage number 1, down into corner number 1.
Stephen Light looking to keep his stage streak alive, winning the last 2 stages at Pocono. Ultimately, 3 stages if you count that last stage. So he's looking to go 4 in a row here right now, looking to be the guy to beat here in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series on Friday nights.
As Stephen Light comes off of 4 right now, it looks like he has sealed up stage number 1, as Stephen Light and that 97 machine will take the stage number 1 victory. But you see it right there, Hunter. Adam Newbert was right there gaining traction at the end of that stage.
For sure, and we didn't really talk about Newbert a whole lot at the beginning of the stage. He did what he had to do. He saved that tire just enough that he could put on a late stage charge to try and win that stage, but ultimately coming up just a little bit short of that 97. But top 10 still get stage points, 9 points to that second place car. So a very good run there from that 4 machine.
Yeah, speaking of those top 10s, we just spoke about Adam Newbert finishing second there in stage number 1. Blake Lothian will take 3rd. Keith Bradley will take 4th. Nathan Maurer 5th. Ted Wade 6th. Joey Doucette up 6 spots from the drop of the green flag will finish 7th there in stage number 1. Devin Painter will finish exactly where he started in the 8th position. Chris Cinnamon up 3 spots from the drop of the green flag will finish 9th. Taylor Peacock will finish in the 10th position. That final is our top 10 there in stage number 1. But one driver I would like to mention here before we go to break is Jacob Clinkhart up 15 spots from the drop of the green flag up to 14th.
Very good run there from Jacob. Ultimately not having a good qualifying time. As I believe last week at Pocono, he struggled with qualifying, but still, I believe he even got up to second or third at one point in that race. So if he could just work on that qualifying effort a little bit, I think he'd be up front a lot, and he could ultimately put himself into position for a lot of wins.
As it looks like the entire field will head down pit road. As it looks like maybe that window there, Hunter, is around 40 laps or so. We didn't see anybody during that green flag run to head down pit road. So maybe from this hypothesis here in stage number 2, these drivers will possibly wait to the end of the stage number 2 to pit again. But once again, Stephen Light in that 97 machine will get the stage 1 victory. We'll step aside for a short break here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network. We'll be right back with the drop of the green flag here in stage number 2. We are back, race fans, here at Texas Motor Speedway, here live on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. I am William Tiller here tonight, joined by Hunter Parsons here. And Hunter, we are under caution here as we just watched the conclusion of stage number 1, which was won by Stephen Like in that 97 machine. I believe you're catching up with that man right now.
Steven, it's Will and Hunter in the booth. I know we talked to you a mere 15, 20 minutes ago, but here we are again, end of stage 1, another stage win for you. Definitely got to feel good to be on such a roll here on Friday nights.
Yeah, everything's been going pretty good. I thought I did a pretty good job of managing tires that first run, and I believe Steven Thompson was pretty much on the same strategy as me. I think I pulled the gun there just a little early. Adam did a little better job of saving a little longer, and obviously that showed dividends at the end of that run. So even when you think you're saving, you're not. So it's really just about keeping the right rear on it as long as possible. But I thought that was decent. Got good stage points out of that, so hopefully I can repeat it.
Awesome. Well, we'll let you get back going as we are doubling up, getting ready to go back green, and possibly even talk to you here at the end of stage 2.
Sounds good.
Again, that was your stage 1 winner, 4 in a row for the 97 of Stephen Light from that BP Racing for Autism team. Certainly a happy Eric Zimmerman right now, team owner of those guys. But right now, Adam Newbert's up front, showing that he is one to be reckoned with here in this one here at Texas tonight for the Pultz Poppers 200.
Yeah, you saw Stephen Like in that 97 machine really pick up where he left off at Pocono last week, built up a pretty good lead there. Adam Newbert there, I lost him on the racetrack for just a split second there, Hunter. came up out of nowhere, really closed that gap in a hurry, started to catch that draft off the 97. I believe another lap or two would have been right on the back bumper, if not side by side with the 97 there at the conclusion of stage number 1. I am curious to see how stage number 2 will play out here. We'll race another 40 laps down to lap 80 as we're coming off of corner number 4. We're waiting the pace truck to pull off, and it does just that as I say that, Hunter, as we come off of corner number 4. Stephen Like will take us to the drop of the green flag here to officially kick off stage number 2 in the Pultz Poppers 200 as Stephen Like takes us down into corner number 1.
Good start there for the 97 of Light, leading them off into turn 1 and 2. Kind of staying right about where I mentioned a lot of these drivers may end up being right about a lane and a half up from that bottom, ultimately kind of blocking that momentum run from the bottom, especially right there on that 29 of Bradley. We see a lot of dicing, ducking, and diving through turns 3 and 4. Drivers trying to get situated out early, make your money moves as we mentioned, try and get as many positions as possible while the field is still bunched up.
Yeah, as they say in dodgeball, it's duck, dodge, dip, and dodge again. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. But these drivers here tonight are trying to dodge each other as it's fusion frenzy behind the leaders right now. We're very packed up inside the top 10, down to 3 and 4.
Right now, the 29 of Keith Bradley going to take over the race lead. Stephen Light going to go high, wide, and handsome off of turn 3 and 4. Ultimately going to give away 4 or 5 positions, but he kind of mentioned on it at the end of stage 1 there. He didn't want to pull the trigger too early. That allowed Newbert to kind of close in the gap on him early. So possibly some planning on that from that 97 machine there to start the stage off, kind of ride around, save those tires for the end of the stage.
Yeah, Stephen Like, though, we're on an overhead point of view of the 97 machine. Looks like he might be having some difficulties inside of that cockpit. Made contact with the top side wall there just briefly. Now trying to hold on position, trying to use a bit of side draft to keep up with the rest of the field there. I'm wondering what's happening inside of that truck. But right now, currently, our race leader is Keith Bradley in that 29 machine. We have Ted Wade in second, but a big battle right now for third as we come off of 2 down the backstretch.
Going 2 by 2, you're looking right now at the 3 of Chris Cinnamon. We kind of talked about him early, starting back in the 12th position. Right now, looking to go top 3 as he's going to bring along the 16 purple machine of Joey Doucette, coming off a top 3 run last week at Pocono. Going side by side with the 4 of Newbert through the tri-oval, through turns 1 and 2. Going to dive down low, try and get that run on the 4 of Newbert. The 81 of Peacock trying to stay tight to that 16 bumper of Doucette.
Yes, right now Adam Newbert's trying to hold on position right there. You see Chris Cinnamon is getting big pressure from Joey Doucette right there in that 16 machine. That 16 had a huge run right there on the entry of the corner, coming off of forward to the start finish line down to corner number 1. So Keith Bradley leading the way in the 29 machine, but a lot of moving parts inside the top 10 as everybody is jockeying for position off of corner number 2.
Right now, everyone going to be single file, but right now, one car not wanting to go single file is that 97 of Stephen Light. He probably fell back a little bit further than he expected. Going to have to try and make some moves here a little bit early on. Try and get back up towards the front here. Try and grab another stage win. As he's going to dive below the 81 of Taylor Peacock through the tri-oval. Down into turn 1 and 2. He's going to charge it in. Try and force Peacock to stay up a little bit. And he is going to clear him off down into turn 2, down the backstretch, trying to chase down the 48 of Robbie Richards.
Yeah, right now, Stephen Like in that 97 machine, the winner of stage number 1, the winner of last week's race at Pocono, starting to struggle just a little bit here tonight. Has now slid down into the 9th position. Looking at the top 5, though, currently, Keith Bradley is our race leader on the track in that 29 machine. Ted Wade in the number 2, still holding on to that top 3 right now. Chris Cinnamon in that 3 machine is currently in 3rd. Joey Doucette is right now in the 4th position, up 9 spots from the drop of the green flag. And Justin Lumpkin up 6 spots in the 5th position right now, Hunter, but a lot of moving trucks right now, a lot of guys, but we are under caution once again here from Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, right now I believe the 37, Raul Meza, the cause of the caution. I believe rumor through the driver comms is he did blow up. So unfortunate on lap 50 4 for that driver. Probably a little bit of almost redemption from that wreck early on in this one. Damaged truck not wanting to go any further.
No, and for Raul Meza, this just continues a streak of bad runs, I would have to say, Hunter, for Raul in that 37. It's, week in and week out. We always think the best for him, that he's going to break through here, maybe crack through some top 10s, top 5s, but it always seems, though, he runs into some bad luck and maybe in the middle of the race, beginning of these races, and it just really snowballs from there. And here tonight, we saw him make contact with Chris Hacker in that one machine earlier in tonight's race. And from there, Hunter, the problems have just stacked up one by one. And now tonight blows the engine here in stage number 2.
Yeah, unfortunate for that number 37 Serve Pro machine. Gonna have to load up and come back next week to try once again. But certainly, Raul, we talked about him the last couple races. Certainly, he will be back up there with a new engine plant in that machine next week.
For the 37 machine, but currently right now our race leader, as it looks like we have some jumbling going on that grid. As we took a look at that replay here, and only I believe our second or third caution of the night so far. Hunter, we spoke off air about how fast stage number 1 played out here at Texas. Do you see stage 2 playing out the same way, seeing as though these drivers really know what to look at? They strategized there in stage number 1, here at stage number 2, same amount of laps, same strategy maybe here for these drivers?
Yes and no. We kind of talked about it earlier on in the broadcast that stage 1 going to go very quick, very clean, as we didn't have a caution in that first stage, or we had one caution in that first stage. And now we're only 15 laps into this one, and we already have a caution. So I definitely think stage 2 is going to be a little bit more hectic. More drivers trying to put themselves out front to ultimately put themselves out front for stage 3 and be able to put their strategizing plans in play, trying to put themselves out front when it matters here at lap 140.
And you touched on it there to start off this broadcast. Your race pick here tonight was that 29 machine of Keith Bradley, who is currently on top of the grid here, as we're currently still under caution here in the Pultz Poppers 200. This is week number 3 of the Triple M Pulling Truck Series here live on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. If you're enjoying what you're seeing here tonight, we invite you to go check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter to stay up to date and follow all the iRacing action that ensues all week long, Hunter. We have races almost every night of the week, and we'll be kicking off a Cup Series on Sundays once the Real Life Cup Series kicks off.
For sure, I believe that'll be a fixed series, no iRating cap. So if you're willing and interested, very long season, but certainly going to be a fun one to race throughout. So if you're interested, message NASRA Racing on Facebook, comment on the stream, anything, and we will get in contact with you, get you some info, and we'll hopefully see you here on the service here pretty soon.
Now, looking as we await the drop of the green flag here in stage number 2, some surprises to me right now. Jacob Clickhart still up 16 positions from the drop of the green flag. Bill Hale is up 16 spots as well, up to 16th. Look at Robbie Richards there, up 8 spots. Justin Lumpkin up 6 spots. Joe Doucette up 9 spots. Chris Cinnamon up 9 spots as well. So a lot of drivers, as we talked about it here, played very coy there in stage number 1. Here in stage number 2 is now trying to move their way up the grid slowly but surely, avoid any chaos that might play out. Now putting themselves in a prime position here, still with a lot of race to go, but this is exactly where you want to position yourself right now in this race, Hunter.
For sure, you almost don't want to put yourself in the 8 ball right now and be back in that 25th or 30th position. You at this point, you're going to be coming down to the end of stage 2 here very soon, and stage 3, when if it does stay green, you're going to want to put yourself out front and be able to try and pit as soon as that fuel window opens up to be able to get those new tires and try and drive away as soon as you possible.
Yeah, as right now we come off of corner number 2 down this backstretch here, still under caution here in stage number 2. We'll be racing it down to lap 80 here at the conclusion of stage number 2. as the pace truck's going to lead the way down the backstretch here. Only week number 3 here, coming off of wins from Nathan Maurer to kick off the season in the 971. Stephen Like won last week at the Tricky Triangle at Pocono in dominating fashion. Here tonight, though, the 97 machine seemed to run into some problems here in stage number 2. See if he's just playing coy there, Hunter, there in the back of the pack. See if he's going to force his way up the pack once again here tonight, as Ted Wade is currently our race leader on the track. We have Keith Bradley to his outside as well. Joey Giuseppe's right behind that 29 machine on the top side, and Chris Cinnamon will be on the inside with Ted Wade. But here we go, race fans. The pace truck has pulled off. The green flag is ready to wave, and so are we. Ready to kick things off here once again. See, as we cruise up through the Geico restart zone, Keith Bradley will take the green flag down to corner number 1.
Keith Bradley and Ted Wade going to get the nice jump there on that restart. They're going to lead the field through 1 and 2. Chris Cinnamon, a couple of teammates running 1, 2, and 3 right now. Going to be holding down the fort on that upfront motorsports team. At 16, Joey Giuseppe looking to spoil the party of those guys running that 4 spot with Justin Lumpkin rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, very strange restart to me there, Hunter. It looked like everybody had checked up right in the Geico restart zone and then realized the start-finish line was right there, and everybody decided to get back on the gas. Looked like it was a checkup all the way down the field there, which sometimes equals disaster right there on the front stretch, but no disasters here so far, as we're still racing clean down into corner number 3. And just as I say that, Hunter, we are under caution once again.
Yeah, it sounded like a bit of a checkup on that restart, and just people couldn't check up soon enough down into turns 1 and 2, and a big pileup is what I hear over the race chat right now.
That looks to be the
87 of Clint Mata and the 86 of Kyle Hess making a little bit of contact, sending Hess around.
I'll bring out a consecutive caution here at Texas Motor Speedway. We're going to take another look at it here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. See what happened between Mata and Hess right there as we enter into corner 1. Ooh, that's very close for me there, Hunter. Looks like just a battle between the lines right there. Looks like Hess was right in that middle lane, was trying to hold position there on the entry of the corner. Tried to hold that lane. Mata went to the inside there to try to increase position here right on the entry of 1. Didn't even hit the apex of 1. And just looks like Hess just ran out of racetrack there. Clint maybe could have gone a little bit lower on the racetrack, but when you're that close and you have that milliseconds to think about how close you're going to make that move, you just had that brief little contact, and unfortunately Hess is going to get the worst part of that.
Yeah, very tough call. You almost, at some points, you don't know when that car in front of you is going to slow down. And if you're charging the corner, stuff happens so fast just at any racetrack. And we're not in real cars. We're in a sim, so sometimes it's just hard to judge what one another is going to do.
As we have a brief break in the action, we'll take a break here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. We'll be right back for the drop of the green flag as we kick things off once again here in stage number 2 of week number 3 of the Triple M Pulling Truck Series here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. welcome back, race fans, to this presentation of the Triple M Pulling Truck Series here live on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. We are just about halfway through stage number 2, coming off a caution between Mata and Hess right there. Looks like Hess just ran out of room, made contact with Mata, which sent Hess into that top side wall. Unfortunately, ending the night for Hess there here tonight. But right now, Keith Bradley in the 29 machines leading the way. Ted Wade is right on his outside. Joey Doucette's right there. Chris Cinnamon currently is our top 4 on the racetrack. We're waiting the drop of the green flag here once again in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. Been a very competitive race so far there, Hunter, as we're working through some technical difficulties here up in the booth. Maybe Hunter went and got one of those hot dogs here at Texas Motor Speedway, but here tonight, been a very fast-paced race, but a very competitive race nonetheless.
Yeah, and I went out and grabbed an ice cream cone. It's hot as hell out here, so definitely needed a little bit of a Sunday treat. But right now, you mentioned Ted Wade, Keith Bradley, Chris Cinnamon, all upfront motorsports drivers right now, kind of showing the way for these guys here at Texas.
Yeah, as we're waiting the drop of the green flag here, as the pace truck still leading us down the backstretch right now, just cresting through that halfway point. One question I wanted to pop to you here, Hunter, as we head down the backstretch. We're going to have more cautions here in stage number 2. Does that change that pit strategy at all as we creep to the conclusion of this 80-lap run we're going to see?
Not really. These drivers still had probably 15 or 20 or so laps if we stay green here in the second stage on these tires. And once you kind of hit that 5 to 10 laps, especially at this place right now, it's gonna just eat your right sides, and you're gonna want tires at the end of the stage regardless, unless you're running 18th or so on back, and you're saving your equipment, not really running. You might be able to save a set at the end of the stage and then make it last until you pit in stage 3. So, and actually have a set of tires left over. So right now, a lot of things going through some of these drivers' heads as the pace car is going to dive below pit lane. And Keith Bradley's going to be leading them back to the restart barn. He's waving the green flag high.
As Keith Bradley giddies up down into corner number 1. He's loose out on the entry of the corner. Keith Bradley is sideways into the inside wall on the entry of corner number 1. Doesn't look like anybody else is involved. Keith Bradley went completely at a 90-degree angle at the entry of corner number 1. Makes contact with the inside wall. We are under caution here once again from Texas Motor Speedway.
I am just not going to talk about Keith Bradley anymore this season. I have done it the last 2 weeks, and he has yet to finish one of the last 2 weeks, so very unfortunate for that 29, and just not sure what happened, if he just got a little loose in the 3, as you're going to get an on-the-pole replay right now as they're coming off the restart down into turn 1 and 2.
Now, for the folks at home here, Hunter, that are watching along with us here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network, that are maybe unfamiliar what it takes here on the iRacing simulator, what would cause a driver to get loose like that on the entry of the corner?
Right now, these drivers, they're running on, like I mentioned earlier, probably 15 to 20 lap old tires. And right now, you're on these restarts, tires are cold, and you almost get on the throttle too hard. The truck's a handful right now, so just overcorrected a little bit, drove in too hot, and the truck just came around on him. And that's not something you typically see, that 29 machine getting turned sideways on his own. So definitely got to think tires being a big problem there tonight.
Yeah, and you see him briefly hit the brakes there right as he's getting loose. May have felt that race car starting to go away from him there on the entry of the 1. We have some fans watching along with us here on YouTube. The NASRA 360 Racing Network may have blown an engine there. That could be a possibility as well for the 29 machine. The way he had been racing here tonight, it is not totally out of the realm of possibilities, but definitely a strange occurrence for our race leader, who now looks to be out of tonight's race.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's going to take out a very heavy hitter. Keith Bradley consistently running the top 2 or 3 tonight, and gonna definitely just hurt that option and open up the door for some other drivers here.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was too much damage to the nose of that 29 machine. If you were Keith Bradley in 29, You're one of the most dominant trucks so far here tonight, about halfway through stage number 2. Do you try to roll that thing back out on the track, try to salvage some points out of tonight's race, or do you just call it a night and look forward to next week?
At this point, I'd probably just load it up and sit back and watch the rest of the race, help some teammates out if you can. Right now, blown engine, that's going to be quite a bit of time in the required repairs. So, unfortunate for him, I don't see a point in trying to come back out and get any positions, as he's going to go probably 15, 20 laps down here before all is said and done.
Yeah, and from the fan point of view, Sean Hamilton, who is usually a driver here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series, says he downshifted there, which caused, as he said in his own words, he money shifted there, which caused that engine to blow. And now for me, I don't have a lot of experience here racing here in the iRacing simulator. Why would a driver downshift going onto the corners? I'm familiar with maybe braking or letting off through the corners, letting the truck really do its thing. What would cause Keith to try to downshift on the entry?
I'm not quite sure at this kind of racetrack, being a little bit wider of corners, being more momentum based. Somewhere as the Coliseum, where we were a couple weeks ago, and maybe even Martinsville, those tight corners where you can downshift from fourth down into third, may be beneficial. But this racetrack here tonight, I don't see why he would be downshifting. So definitely a little bit of questions there for that 29 count.
See, as we're under caution here, and maybe we'll get a chance to speak with that 29 machine, Keith Bradley here, as we see he's down pit road. And actually, he is on our YouTube chat now. He said he went into third and it wouldn't go into third. So it looks like that truck just completely gave up on him there on the entry of the corner.
Yeah, very tough for that 29. And next week he's going to be trying everything he can to try and get a win here. He's had a rough 3 weeks to start the season, and certainly not looking good on the point standings right now. He's going to need a good couple finishes, maybe even a win to lock him into the playoffs here at the end of the regular season.
But I believe, Hunter, you are catching up with Keith Bradley as we're still under caution here. Keith Bradley is now on the radio, that 29 machine.
Keith, it's Hunter and Will in the booth. You got us here.
Unfortunately.
Not how we wanted to talk to you tonight, but kind of take us and the viewers through what happened there on that restart.
I was just going through the gears, went to shift into third, and it didn't go into third.
Very unfortunate. We weren't sure what happened, because it seemed like you got going really good out there on that restart, and going into one just kind of locked up on you and turned you sideways.
Yeah, unfortunately, when it went to shift into third, it was like it was in neutral, but it wasn't. So, I mean, it blew it wide open. It is what it is. We'll come back next week strong.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it early on. You and Stephen Light right now seem to be the top of the field here as full-time drivers go anyway in the NASRA Truck Series. We're definitely going to see a lot more of you up front, and hopefully this little bad luck string can go away here and eventually get a win here.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we've shown a lot of speed. Now it's just putting it all together.
For sure. Well, so what are you going to be trying to cheer on your teammates the rest of the night? Kick back and have a couple cold ones?
Well, probably till the truck gets fixed and go out and salvage what we can salvage.
All right. Well, thanks, Keith, and we'll get you back with your team here.
Sounds good. Thank you.
That was Keith Bradley inside that 29 machine. We appreciate Keith taking the time with us here as we were back under green here on lap 69, as we have a new leader on the racetrack, and that is Chris Cinnamon inside the 3 machine, down the backstretch, down into corner number 3.
Yeah, and right now we haven't really talked about what happened during that last caution either. The 2 of Ted Wade back in the 28th position. So I think right there he might have, I'm not sure he took any damage, but might have even taken a set of tires right now. So at the end of the stage, he'll cycle in as the leader, try and go until halfway through that stage, and then have to pit when he needs to for fuel and tires. But right now, Chris Cinnamon showing the way in that 3 machine. Justin Lumpkin, always a heavy hitter here in that 18 Interstate machine, running in that 2nd position. And Adam Newbert still rounding out the top 3 in that 4.
As we come off of corner number 4 right now, Joey G says trying to hold off Stephen Light in that 97 machine. Shout out to the truck for that awesome camera view we just had there. I don't know if that was a drone point of view or what kind of camera angle that was there, Hunter, but I really enjoyed it up here in the booth as we're starting to see the rest of the field start to fan out just a little bit, but Stephen Light in that 97 machine still right on the back bumper of the 16 down into corner number 3.
Yeah, that 97, he's got 10 laps, 9 this time by to try and make something happen, try and get up front for that stage win. Right now he's working on the back of that 16 machine of Doucette. Right now he's got to look at what's in front of him. Some of those top 4 drivers right now, they're starting to race each other almost side by side, trying to battle it out. That might just open a little bit of opportunity for that 97.
That's an excellent shot of the top 4. Down to corner number 3 right now. This is bookend by Robbie Richards in the 48. It is led by Chris Cinnamon in the 3. As we come off of corner number 4 right now, make it 9. 8 laps to go here in stage number 2. Down to corner number 1, we have quite the battle for the top 4 right now, as it looked like we almost had a battle for the lead, as Chris Cinnamon is going to hold that line off of corner number 2 down the backstretch.
Yeah, right now Chris Cinnamon still out front, trying to hold off that 18 and the 4 machine for that stage win and the lead right now. A little bit of separation from 4th to 5th, so right now Robbie Richards got a little bit of breathing room, kind of going into offense mode, not having to worry about playing any defense. Just got to know when to strike and take your shot with just 7 laps remaining in stage 2.
Offense makes you look fancy. Defense makes you win championships, as they're trying to play defense up here in the top 4. But right now, Chris Cinnamon is the man trying to be Ray Lewis of the Baltimore Ravens right now, trying to hold off a big charge from Lunkin in that 18. Justin keeps trying to the inside, keeps trying here as we cross the strike. Now Justin's going to go to the outside here in corner number 1. Not going to be enough, though, as that window is going to get closed, but he's still going to ride that momentum here on the middle lane around 1 and 2. We have a battle for the lead coming off of corner number 2.
Chris Cinnamon, you're going to be doing a great job coming off that bottom groove all the way up to the wall, kind of blocking that little bit of momentum from the 18, but right now going right back to that middle of the racetrack, trying to use up as much real estate as possible, trying to take away any groove that the 18 of Lumpkin can possibly do to get around him here.
And right now, with about 5 laps to go here in stage number 2, this stage will end on lap 80. We've had quite the shake-up here at the top of the grid. We had Stephen Like in the 97 leading the way. We had Ted Wade leading the way. We had Keith Bradley leading the way in the 29 machine. That has now given way to Chris Cinnamon in that 3 machine. Now Justin Lumpkin says, hey man, I want to lead some laps as well, as we cross the line, make it lap 77 down to corner number 1.
Right now, Justin Lumpkin just doing absolutely everything he can possibly do to get around that 3. But you almost don't want to leave the door open too wide right there, as Cinnamon's going to push up and going to give a little bit of a window to that 18. And Adam Newert's going to try and tuck down below with that 18, get around that 3 of Cinnamon. And as I mentioned, or I was trying to mention there, you don't want to leave the door wide open if you're Lumpkin right now, because if you're trying to find a window around that 3, you're going to open a gap for the 4 Newbert, as Newbert kind of gets high a little bit off of turn 4. That's going to open the door right to the 48 of Richards. So a lot of moving and shaking around, leaving windows open, but it's time to go. You're going to have 3 laps to go, this time by for stage 2, as the 18 is going to be chasing down the 3 down into turn number 3.
Ooh. Oh, Hunter, we are line dancing now in the great state of Texas, as Justin Lumpkin now hits the apron, gets a little sideways. That sends Adam Newbert up the track just a little bit, almost makes contact with Stephen Light in the 97 machine as we cross the line, making 2 laps to go here in stage number 2, as Justin Lumpkin now is trying to hold on to that second position. It's going to give way to our race leader, Chris Cinnamon, to coast off of corner number 2. Down the backstretch right now, things are heating up for the top 3 here in stage number 2.
And just like that, you go from a battle of 4 for the race lead to down to 1 truck, Chris Cinnamon leading way. And all of a sudden, that 97 Stephen Light comes out of nowhere trying to challenge for that second position, as they're going to take the white flag this time by for stage number 2. Newbert in that 4 machine going to get a run down to the bottom of turns 1 and 2, trying to slide up in front of that 18 of Lumpkin.
And what a curious move out of the 4 of Newbert right there. You saw him slow down on the corner, get back onto the gas, slow down again, and then got back on the gas on the exit of the corner. We are side by side for a second here on 3 and 4. Justin Lumpkin, though, is going to slide behind the 4 machine of Newbert here as we come off of corner number 4. Stage number 2 will be won by Chris Cinnamon in that 3 machine, as Newbert will be second and Justin Lumpkin will be third here in stage number 2.
Rounding out the top 10 here in stage number 2. 4th place going to go to the 97 Light. Robbie Richards in the 48. Joey Doucette coming home 6th. In that 7th position will be the 99 Painter. 971 and Nathan Maurer, Michael McKinnon. And rounding out the top 10, well, we got Jacob Klinkart cracking into the top 10 all the way from that 29th position.
Yes, sir. I've been keeping an eye out on him all night long. He was up to the 14th, 15th position. That's up 15 from the drop of the green flag. Now cracked inside the top 10. Watch out for that 5 machine, as now we have completed stage number 2. We'll have a final 60 laps for you race fans as we come back here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. We'll be right back from this short break here from Texas Motor Speedway. Welcome back, race fans, to Texas Motor Speedway here in the Pultz Poppers 200 here live on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. This is week number 3 of the Triple M Pulling Truck Series, but we just saw the conclusion of stage number 2, who was won by Chris Cinnamon in that 3 machine. And I believe, Hunter, you are catching up with that man right now.
Chris Cinnamon, it's Hunter Will in the booth. You got us.
Hey, Hunter, I got you guys.
Well, congratulations on stage 2. Early on in this one, we kind of talked about you almost being like a sleeper pick, starting back in that 12th position. Certainly, everyone very competitive here in this league. Starting 12th almost seems like you're starting in the back with how much talent there is here.
It really does. There's a lot of good guys out here, a lot of fast guys, and yeah, I'm still in shock at a little incident we had. Keith missed a shift there, and yeah, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah, we kind of saw that last week at Pocono happen with the Ford Newbert. Here tonight with Bradley. Does that almost make you wonder, is it possible to happen to anyone here, week in or week out?
Sorry, say that again. Possible to have what?
Have that happen to yourself, because we've seen that out of 2 drivers that we wouldn't typically see that kind of error happen from either of those 2 drivers. So does that kind of worry you here in the future that it could eventually happen to you.
Oh, it can always happen. We always joke about the upfront curse too with our team. Tends to be when we're leading laps, as the internet goes down, computer craps out, something like that. We've seen it last couple of seasons, so you're never safe. Always want to stay on your toes and hope for the best.
Yeah, and it almost comes down to almost an announcer's curse. We've been talking about you guys so much. You guys are always up front between you, Peacock, Blanchard, and Bradley. Ultimately, always a little bit of bad luck, but you shook that off there in stage 2 and came away with a win. Right now, you're up front with your teammate there, Ted Wade, and you guys are looking to bring home hopefully another stage win and a victory here tonight.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But yeah, about that curse, how about you guys just stop talking about me, okay?
All right. Well, we'll leave you alone and we'll let you back with your team, and hopefully we'll talk to you here at the end. We won't jinx it anymore.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good race and hopefully put a good show on for you.
Awesome. Well, again, that was your stage 2 winner. That number 3 machine from the north in Canada, Chris Cinnamon, looking to be on the front row with his teammate, bringing him back to the start of stage number 3.
Yeah, right now as we crest to the apex of 3 and 4, here we await the drop of the green flag, which will kick off the remaining 60 laps here tonight in week number 3 of the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. Looking at the starting 2 right now, we just spoke to Chris Cinnamon, who won stage number 2. He'll have Ted Wade, who's been very fast as of late, to his outside here as we cruise through the Geico restart zone, and baby, we are back. Green flag racing down into corner number 1 as Ted Wade takes us down to the corner.
And we kind of mentioned it there in the middle of stage 2. Ted Wade with that late stage yellow with Keith Bradley. He went down into pit lane, took some fuel and tires. So right now, out of everyone in this field, he's on his own strategy. He's gonna have to end up pitting a little bit early if this last stage does go green. However, I don't think that will be the case, but right now he's just praying for a caution to be able to pit with everyone else. Otherwise, like I said, he's going to be about 10 laps shy of everyone else's fuel strategy. So strategy already coming into play here into stage 3.
And one thing to watch out for here, as 1 lap is in the books here for the remaining 60 laps. The fastest truck on the track here tonight is Robbie Richards in that 48 machine. Looking at the lap times, he is faster than both Stephen Light, Chris Cinnamon, and our race leader, Ted Wade, right now. Watch out for this 48 machine here in the closing stages of this race. See if he can't put that 48 into victory lane here at Texas.
For sure, and if we do stay green, we're going to have our green flag pit stop here. Fuel window is anywhere from about 45 to 50 laps. So if we do stay green, your winner is going to, and as I say that, there's going to be a caution right here, but eventually these drivers are still going to have to pit once in between here and the end of this one. Your winner is going to be determined on if we have a green flag stop and how early do you come down, because those fresh tires are going to make a world of difference.
Yeah, looking at just the presumptive window of the pit strategy, we saw in stage number 1, drivers headed down at the end of the stage, so we're thinking around 40 laps. Stage number 2, we about saw the same thing there. Thinking here, Hunter, we might have about 25 to 20 laps to go when we start to see these green flag pit stops take place. If that's the case, we'll have quite the shootout to close out week number 3.
For sure, you're not going to want to go too early where you end up using your tires early on, but you also don't want to wait too long, because if driver A, let's say, takes tires 15 laps before driver B, that driver A is going to have a very big gap over B. But if you take them too late, you don't have enough time to try and catch up on that gap between you and the leader.
As we just saw, it looks like Keith Haney was down pit road there. You can't miss Keith there in that paint scheme. Very flashy paint scheme, but I'm still unaware of what brought out that caution there, Hunter. Maybe was it an incident on the racetrack? It did look like it was just one truck, down pit road there. So maybe just a single truck incident that brought out that caution.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything. That Keith Haney machine has been on pit road for quite some time. Probably, I believe he was caught up in that first wreck with Raul and that one machine of Chris Hacker. So not seeing anything what happened there.
Yeah, but as we were under caution here, we're cruising up towards the conclusion of week number 3 here. And as always, if you are liking what you're seeing here tonight on the NASRA 360 Racing Network, again, we invite you to go check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter to stay up to date and follow all the iRacing action that takes place all week long. We have trucks on Monday night. On Tuesday night, I believe there, Hunter. Are we off on Tuesday nights? I am not sure there. Wednesday nights, we're off. Thursday nights, we have Xfinity. Friday night, we have these wonderful trucks that you see on your screen here tonight. Then on Sunday nights, we have a Cup Series that will start alongside of the Real Life Cup Series here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. So, Hunter, for all those folks at home that want to get their iRacing fix, there's no better place than NASRA 360 Racing Network.
For sure, you touched on it. The Cup cars on Sunday, no iRating limit. Monday night, the Sim Racer Hub Truck Series, limited iRating cap, I believe 2250. Tuesday, Wednesday off. Thursday night, unlimited iRating cap over the top Xfinity Series. Friday night here in the trucks, I believe 3,000 iRating limit. And soon to come, Road Course League. Not sure what that all entails, but certainly something you can find on the NASRA Racing Facebook page.
Ooh, a little road course racing. That sounds interesting to me there, Hunter. We hit all those road courses that everybody loves, and we just saw Ted Wade in a different league here at NASRA dominated a road course not too long ago. I believe he dominated at Coda last week in the Over the Top Designs Xfinity Series, so definitely a road course ringer, as they like to say here in these Speedway races. But right now, as we watch, the pace lights are still on of the pace truck down the backstretch. Right now, we are waiting the drop of the green flag here once again on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. We invite everybody to go get their snacks, to get their drinks, to get comfortable watching the race here tonight as the fireworks will start to go off. The sparks will fly here in the conclusion of this race. I believe, Hunter, we have not seen the last charge of a lot of these guys inside the top 10.
Oh, for sure. Right now, looking at top 10, Jacob Klinkart still running in that 10th position all the way up from 29th. Nathan Maurer always seems to be a late race charger. One driver I haven't seen a whole lot of, not sure where he went. The 23 is Stephen Thomas. We saw it last week at Pocono. He had about a 1.5-second gap on Stephen Light with just 5 laps to go, and ultimately almost coming away with a win, short of by just, I believe, 0.05 of a second. So a lot of drivers just biding their time, just waiting. You don't want to pull the trigger too early, as they always say. So don't be shocked to see a driver right now running 6th or 7th be up front here towards the end, trying to put a late race winning package together.
And as I mentioned, Robbie Richards in that 48 machine just ran a 30.39, best lap time so far for him inside that 48 machine. But a few new names inside of that top 10 currently right now. You know, we spoke about Joey Doucette up there in the 16, has been quietly inside that top 10 all race long. Stephen Light still inside the top 10, holding on in that 97 machine after winning stage number 1. Jacob Klinkart, you just touched on it as well, up 20 spots from the drop of the green flag up to 9th, right inside that top 10. We see Nathan Maurer still trying to hang on to the top 10 as well. Jose Luis Rivera right there in 11th. Michael McKinnon's trying to crack that top 10 as well, down in the 12th. Trey Pitts right now in 13th. Zach Hardwick in 14th. Brian Abbott up 22 spots from the drop of the green flag up to 15th. And Bill Hales will be our top 16 here at the drop of the green flag.
Pace car is going to dive down pit road. Barney's going to be waving the green. Chris Cinnamon going to get the nice jump there across the line in that number 3. Leading him and Ted Wade down into turns 1 and 2. Justin Lumpkin looking to dive down below the 48, trying to grab that podium spot. Right now, Robbie Richards just going to, as you mentioned, one of the fastest trucks out there. Just, I believe he is going to be one of those drivers where we're going to see wait, and then 10, 15 laps to go, going to really just start to push his way through the front, try and come away with a win.
Very quiet fast, if I say so myself there, Hunter. Not a truck that really came forth in stage number 1. Stage number 2 didn't really call out his name a lot either inside that 48 machine. Now, here in the closing stages of this race, As decided, okay, I've had fun driving around Texas Motor Speedway, but I really want to let these horses gallop, if you will. Now putting forth some of the fastest lap times of the entire race, of the entire field. Currently in the 4th position, really living up to that 48 he has on the side of that truck.
For sure, and right now we're going to look at that battle for second. Justin Lumpkin going to dive below that number 2 of Ted Wade. We kind of mentioned earlier, Ted Wade took some tires. He at least pit earlier. Not sure if he took tires or not. So definitely, possibly even running on a little bit of older of a tire, trying to hold his own in that 3rd position until that fuel window opens here for him. But right now, that 18 machine going to dive down into turns 3 and 4, trying to track down your current race leader of that 3 of Chris Cinnamon.
As we come off corner number 4, Chris Cinnamon will take us to the start-finish line as our race leader. We're single file, 1, 2, 3, and I believe all the way down to about the 5th or 6th position as we hit the apex of 1 and 2. Although Joey Doucette's trying to increase his position in that 16 machine, I believe that's a battle for 5th taking place right there, Hunter.
It is right now between that 48 and 16, but don't count out that number 4, Adam Newbert. He's showing a lot of speed here throughout the night, grabbing 2 second place finishes in each of the stages. Right now, everyone's single file until about that 9th or 10th spot. That's going to be Jacob Klinkart. He's starting to make his way forward here, Will. He's cracked up into the top 8. Looking to get around Stephen Light for 7th. Certainly passing Stephen Light in that 97. Oh, as I say that, Jacob's going to get a little bit loose through 3 and 4. Almost make contact with the 20 of Jose. But now they're going to be going 2 by 2 down into turns 3 and 4. Jose is going to get dive it down in below that number 5 of Klinkart, trying to track down your next truck on the list. There would be the 97 of Stephen Light.
Yeah, and for Jose Luis Rivera and Jacob Klinkart in that 5 machine, they're going to come up quick on Stephen Light in that 97 machine. We almost had disaster there on the entry of the corner. But for these 2 drivers, they have put forth monstrous efforts here tonight to crack inside the top 10 from their starting position. You know, we look at Jacob Klinkart up about 20 or so positions from the drop of the green flag. We look at Jose Luis Rivera as well up 6 spots from the drop of the green flag. So very heavy movers here tonight, right inside the top 10.
Yeah, right now I am thinking to myself, that 97, he is just biding time. He's not really pushing any bit of issue. I don't believe he has any damage. I know he got into the outside wall earlier, but certainly not really looking up to speed. You got to be wondering if he's going into conserve mode a little bit.
Yeah, right now as we're off of 4, Chris Cinnamon will make it 100 laps as we have now officially crested the century mark here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. This is the Pultz Poppers 200 here from Texas Motor Speedway, week number 3. We've touched on it here. Stephen Light dominated at the tricky triangle of Pocono. Here tonight, though, Hunter, it has been an Uno game of wild cards of guys who have led this race here tonight. Currently, our race leader across the strike is Chris Cinnamon, taking us down to corner number 1.
Just like we saw at the end of stage 2, Justin Lumpkin trying to do all that he can to get around that 3 machine as he's going to peek to the outside of Cinnamon through turns 1 and 2. He's going to have the momentum run down the backstretch on his outside alongside the wall. They're going to go side by side down into turn number 3. Justin Lumpkin going to take a little bit of a different corner entry there. He's going to go up the hill and drive down the banking. Possibly something we haven't really seen on a lot of drivers. He's going to gain the momentum around 3 and 4 and give the lead to the number 18 of Justin Lumpkin that time by at the stripe.
Justin Lumpkin on the top side right now on 1 and 2. We are side by side to the apex of 1 and 2 right now for a battle for the lead on the exit of 2. Chris Cinnamon, Justin Lumpkin side by side. Here comes Joey Doucette right there, and that 16 wants a piece of the action as well as we dig down to corner number 3 to the apex at 3 and 4. Justin Lumpkin in the 18 machine will take us off of 4 as our race leader.
Joey Doucette doing a good job right now. 3rd last week at Pocono, had some misfortune at Daytona and the Clash of the Coliseum. Didn't seem like he was having anything go right for him, but 2 really strong runs back to back. Running in that 2nd position, now he sets his sights on the 18 of Justin Lumpkin, trying to track down your race leader with just 38 to go this time by.
Yeah, and you look at Justin Lumpkin's lap time last time by, ran a 31 1 right there. So very fast for Justin Lumpkin at the top of the grid right now, showing the speed. Joey Doucette right currently in the second position, just ran a 31.06, faster than our race leader Justin Lumpkin inside the 18 machine. But still, here on lap 103, Justin Lumpkin, our race leader, off of corner number 2.
And one thing we got to keep in mind here is right now everyone's pretty single filed out, not seeing a whole lot of battles anywhere. We got 37 to go this time by. Our fuel window is wide open, so at any random point here, you could see some drivers come down pit lane, grab some tires, and go. But I kind of mentioned it earlier. You don't want to go too early, because if you go within the next 5 or so laps, you're still going to have 30 laps on those tires. You want to try and stretch this set right now as long as you possibly can. And once you kind of see those lap times fade off as we go into the almost 32-second lap times, that's almost your mark to go down pit road and grab some fresh set of rubbers and go back hard at it.
Yeah, it's really that give and take strategy that all these drivers have to tackle each race. And it's always these crunch time laps. They always have to do the most thinking. Do I pit before everybody else? Do I pit with everybody else? Do I pit after everybody else? That's always the question that goes through all of these drivers' minds as that last pit stop and those last laps start to tick down here in the Pultz Poppers 200. Now, whether or not these strategies pay off, we will wait and see here on lap 106. Currently, Chris Cinnamon leading the way in that 3 machine. Now, Hunter, one thing that I want to watch out for here as we watch conclusion. Now, lap 107 down in the corner, number 1. Which driver will have the best strategy? We saw it last night in the over-the-top designs Xfinity Series in that pit window there. That opened the door for a huge run at the end. I believe the winner of last night's race won that race for about 6 or 7 seconds based off of that pit strategy. But we have quite the battle for second right now as Joey Doucette and Justin Lumpkin are door-to-door banging doors off of corner number 4 across the line down to corner number 1.
Yeah, Joey Doucette going to run up on the 18 a little bit, force him to go high, wide, and handsome, giving the race lead to that 16 machine of Joey Doucette. Going to push Lumpkin back to that 2, and Chris Cinnamon closing back in that number 3 truck. Right now, you got a 3-car battle up front, racing for the lead with just 33 laps to go. Certainly not over by any means, but like you said, who's going to go down first?
As right now, as we cross that strike, make it lap 109. Down in the corner number 1, Joey Doucette in that 16 machine, now our race leader. And boy, Hunter, we've had some race leaders here tonight. I have lost track of the amount of race leaders race changes we've had at the top of this grid here tonight, as Chris Cinnamon in that 3 machine is going to get a big push out of Adam Newbert in that 4 machine. Is going to push him down into the corner there, trying to get around Lumpkin in the 18. Looks like Chris will do that on the top side. Adam Newbert's going to try to follow there on the top side, as well as now Lumpkin will lose 2 spots across the line down to corner number 1.
Yeah, you got to think to wonder yourself, did Lumpkin use up those tires a little too much, a little too early? So he's starting to fade back. This is what you want to look at. If you start fading back, you want to go in and get your tires right now. You don't want to lose a bunch of time and then take tires as it's too late, as that's kind of what we saw last night in the over-the-top designs Xfinity race at Vegas. Once you start losing that time, you got to go in, because if you can get tires right now, the next couple of laps, you'll be a lot faster. Your times will be almost a second and a half quicker, and you'll gain all that time on these race leaders.
As we watch right now, Justin Lumpkin's going to relinquish another 2 spots on the racetrack. A driver that I want to spotlight here before the conclusion of tonight's race. We talked about the run from Jacob Klinkart up 21 positions inside the top 10, but you look at the 82 machine of Brian Abbott up 25 spots from the drop of the green flag, now just outside the top 10 in the 12th position. What a run out of the 82 machine here on lap 112.
For sure, and right now I believe we're having some cars come down pit road, one of them being the 00 of Huck Wigington. And earlier, I kind of missed it, but Ted Wade went down pit lane, so he has his tires, and he is going to try and get all that he can out of those things with just under 30 laps to go here in this one.
30 laps to go indeed. We're waiting to see how these pit stops will take place as we are counting down the laps here in the Pultz Poppers 200 here, week number 3 of the Triple M Pulling Truck Series here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. Joey Doucette currently our race leader down the backstretch right now. Adam Newber in that Ford Machine's currently in the second spot. Chris Inman in third as we go to the apex at 3 and 4 here on lap 113, patiently awaiting these green flag pit stops.
Right now, that Ford Adam Newbert, he is closing in quickly on your race leader, Doucette. He's bringing Chris Cinnamon along with him right now. Right now, I believe Adam Newbert has a really good strategy in place. He kind of waited his time out. Now he's putting the pressure down, putting in some good, clean laps. And ultimately, that's what you want to do before you do your green flag pit stops. You want to be gaining a little bit of time as you can and try and duck down, catch everyone else off guard, get your tires and get back out and put down some real heaters.
And talk about heaters right there. We're looking at Newbert just ran a 31.6 last lap, now up to a 31.7. Look down the grid a little bit more. Robbie Richards just ran a 31.7 as well. And that's going to be our two fastest trucks currently on the racetrack. But Hunter, you touched on it. Pit stops still have to take place with 26 laps to go. So this grid will take a bit of a Yahtzee shuffle there. And we'll see who rises to the occasion here to close out this race.
One thing you don't want to have happen is go down pit lane, get passed by leaders and put a lap down and have a bunch of cars one lap down and get a caution. That's just going to definitely shake things up and around. So definitely going to want a good pit stop. Try and get out as soon as you possibly can.
As we're Robbie Richards is sliding off of corner number 2. One of the fastest trucks here tonight down the backstretch. He knows that time is coming for him to head down pit road. Just trying to drift that thing around like a late model here at Texas Motor Speedway. Robbie Richards inside of that 48 machine, still trying to hold on position here as 24 laps to go here in the Pultz Poppers 200.
You got a new race leader down through turns 1 and 2. The number 4 of Adam Newbert got down to the inside of Doucette. Doucette's going to fight back to the outside, try and gain that race lead back.
Big battle ensuing, about 3 trucks in the mix right now. To the apex of 3 and 4, Adam Newbert, our race leader, as you just mentioned there, Hunter. Joey Doucette in the 16 machine right there, comfortable inside the top 3, but Chris Cinnamon wants that top spot back. As Ludacris once said, I'm coming for that number 1 spot, and Chris is trying to do that right now. Now on the back bumper of that 16 machine, trying to up his position up to second down the backstretch.
Right now, that 97 is closing in on your top 3 as well. That is the 97 of Stephen Light. Right now, going through turns 3 and 4. Top 4 break away from the rest of the field. Right now, Adam Newbert showing the way, coming to lap 119.
As we're starting to see these lap times now crest into the 32s. This is that indication now. The caution flag is out. Hunter, green flag pit stops will not take place. There were a few trucks that did head down very early, but now we are assuming the most of the field will head down here, Hunter. As we look at the closing stages of this race, you see the 29 machine. Ooh, big pile up there right at the entry of pit road. That's the 00, looks like, of Huck Whittington there, and another truck was involved right off the exit of 4.
Yeah, I couldn't quite catch who he clipped there. Not sure if just ran out of real estate or not.
See right here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network, Huck Whittington, that 00 machine, rocking a Bumblebee paint scheme here tonight with the black and yellow. Shout out to Wiz Khalifa there. See who he makes contact with here. Is that Chris Blanchard in that 13 machine? I think there's a truck that's loose, or maybe was thinking about heading down pit road. Still can't see the number on side of that machine. That's the 53 machine right there. See who that is on our scoring, the 53 for
DJ
us here.
Fonda.
Yeah, we see right there. Looks like the 53 was thinking about heading down pit road. That CJ Fonda, as you mentioned there, Hunter, maybe tried to come back up onto the racetrack, and then Huck Whittington was just on that line, had nowhere to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you're trying to get down pit road, especially here, you got to slow down very early, try and get down. But unfortunate for Huck, just had nowhere to go. just couldn't slow down quite enough as we're looking on board right now with, I believe, the 53 of CJ Fonda.
See right here. That's very interesting to me there, Hunter. As you see, CJ was thinking about pit road, maybe low side of the racetrack, hitting the apron a little bit. Maybe tried to come back up, maybe trying to second guess that pit strategy decision there. Just a very confusing racing incident right there at the entry of pit road. But now here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network, we're assuming the majority of that lead pack will head down pit road as we're under caution here once again, which seems as though we'll have just about 20 laps to go here, Hunter, to close things out.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be about a 20 lap shootout. Might even be 19 or 18 by the time these guys get the green flag going again. So definitely going to be a shakeup here. You're going to have a lot of drivers here, fresh tires, 20 laps. It almost seems like a dash here when it comes down to the tire wears. You're going to have about 10 or so laps of good hard racing before the tires start to level off. So I think you're definitely going to see another caution or two within the next 10 laps here. Like we keep mentioning, these are going to be your money move times. You got to get up front with such limited time left.
As we're watching these pit stops ensue right now, some more drivers will head down pit road. The rest of these drivers are trying to make sure they have these strategies locked into place. They know exactly what they're going to do here in these last 20 laps or so. But once again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight on this wonderful, fantastic, Fast Friday here tonight in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. If you haven't done so already, we invite you to shout out who you're cheering for here in the YouTube chat, who you think will get the race victory here tonight. And Hunter, as we watch this race play out here now with about 20 laps to go, as we're still under caution, it's really anybody's race. Of course, we've had some clear favorites here tonight. We had Stephen Like win stage number 1, Chris Cinnamon win stage number 2. Ted Ways was very strong there in the first half of this race. We had some other drivers there in the mix as well. But now with about 20 laps to go, it could be somebody that we haven't really called out here tonight that might take that checkered flag there at the end.
For sure, and I think I don't want to guess or put my weight here on the 97, but in stage 1 we kind of saw him lay back just a little bit, and then he put on that charge for that race lead and ultimately the stage 1 win. I think I'm going to be picking that 97 here again. He's sitting in a really good position. He's not leading, as he mentioned he didn't want to do earlier before the race started. He's going to try and keep those leaders in his view and then put a late race attack on him for that race win. So I'm going to be looking at that 97 to Stephen Like again.
Yeah, as we're still cruising around Texas Motor Speedway here under caution, waiting for the conclusion of the Pultz Poppers 200. I think for me, 2 drivers to watch out for here tonight. One driver may not win the race, but it's going to finish very strong from the drop of the green flag. Jacob Klinkart is up 24 positions now, just inside the top 5, competing with my other pick of tonight's race. Robbie Richards in that 48 machine has been consistently fast. Stage 1, Stage 2, now here in the last 20 laps has been laying down hot lap times. Now let's see if he has the same strategy of the 97 of Stephen Like, as you mentioned there, Hunter, playing coy throughout tonight's race. Now it's time to put that pedal to the floor, hit a little bit of that sheet metal there at the back of that base pedal, get that thing going here as the pace truck will take us down to 3 and 4 here as we patiently await Barney in the flag stand for that green flag.
And right now, if I'm Adam Newbert, I am absolutely terrified of this restart here. Last week at Pocono, he was on the front row of a restart, I believe, in stage 3, and downshifted instead of upshifted and destroyed his truck along with the rest of the field. And here he is again, 20 laps to go, just under 20, and he's leading once again, coming to the green flag.
And as I said to start this race, get a big Texas size yeehaw as Adam Newbert will take this green flag down into corner number 1 as our race leader with less than 15 laps to go.
Adam Newbert going to be leading the field down in through turns 1 and 2 as the caution flag is going to come back out once again.
As we were just coming off of corner number 2 there, the yellow flag is out. The yellow lights are flashing here at the Texas Motor Speedway. We'll see what exactly brought out that caution flag here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network. We'll queue up that replay for you, but it looks as though it is going to include the 22 machine there, Hunter.
Yeah, and I don't want to say I called it, but I called it. I figured we were going to have a caution or two within the next 10 laps or so. People trying to make their moves, and we had one right there in the first corner. So not quite sure what happened. I believe the 81 was also collected in that.
Yeah, we'll take a look here at this replay. I think we're back live here. This was the start of that green flag here. We see Adam Newbert take that green flag down into the corner. You see what ensues here at the back of the pack here, Hunter. It looks like pretty clean restart to start things off here as we dig down to the first corner. Still pretty clean so far. See what ensues there that brings out the caution here. Still trying to figure it out, Hunter. And I'm not seeing anything from my point of view up here in the booth. May have just looked like a truck that may have had a bad restart there and they threw the caution for it.
For sure, not quite seeing much either, but it just takes one car with iRacing on the racing service to throw a caution out. So we're going to restack them, try again, and we're going to have just under, I believe, 14 or 13 to go this time by when we go back to green. So definitely going to be about like I said, a 13 or 14 lap stint here with fresh tires trying to race to the end of this one. So right now you're definitely going to want to be one of the first 3 or 4 or 5 trucks up front with that clean open surface.
And right now, our top 3 on the racetrack is Adam Newbert in that 4 machine, leading the way up 6 spots from the drop of the green flag. Chris Cinnamon currently in second, up 10 spots from the drop of the green flag, and Robbie Richards up 13 spots from the drop of the green flag to third. But here, as we watch the conclusion of this race here tonight, Hunter, you mentioned it, that Adam Newbert is probably scared to death of that last restart. Now gets another chance at it, but I believe you're catching up with that 4 machine of Adam Newbert.
Adam, it's Will and Hunter in the booth. You got us here.
Oh.
Well, we kind of talked about it last week at Pocono. You had that one restart from the front row and kind of missed a shift there. Are you kind of having a little bit of flashbacks for having to do this not once but now twice in front of the field, leading with just about 12 or 13 laps to go?
Why you gotta bring that up, man? Nah, I'm not gonna lie to you. It just crossed my mind, honestly. I'm like, man, I hope I don't screw this up again. But it's funny. Keith Bradley was giving me a hard time earlier in the race, and then when he spun out in turn 1, it's because he missed a gear.
Yeah, and we kind of mentioned it happened to you last week. We don't really see that kind of mistake happen to Keith tonight. We really never see those kind of things happen. But now we talked about it before this last caution, and I was wondering if you were having a little bit of almost PTSD from it, but now you have to go back and do it again here.
Yeah. Hopefully we just get a good clean restart, and I'm just going to go as hard as I can right here. That's all I can do.
For sure. Just about 10, like I mentioned, 13 or 14 laps to go. Pretty short stint here on some new tires. Going to see a lot of money moves, as we've been calling them here tonight.
We're 2 to green here, so it'll be 12 to go. So I can just do 12 good laps, and hopefully it works out.
For sure. Well, we'll let you go and get you back with your guys here.
All right, cross my fingers. No shifting problems.
All right. Well, we'll watch you very closely here, so don't mess it up.
All right. Thank you.
That was Adam Newbert in that 4 machine there, Hunter. And, for Adam, in a solid spot, but a consistent top truck here tonight in the Pultz Poppers 200. Now, it's whether or not he can get the job done. But, Hunter, he has a fast train coming behind him with a lot of hungry dogs that also want to take the checkered flag and take that belt buckle back home here tonight in Texas.
For sure, and we heard him say he's going to drive hard as he can, try and put 12 good laps together. But those 2 things here at Texas, very hard to do. Hard, fast laps while trying to be consistent while you're having different drivers up front, such as Cinnamon, Richards, Doucette, and Light, trying to breathe down your neck here.
Yeah, right now, as we're still waiting, the pace truck's going to take us around the corner, down the backstretch here. One final time. The lights are off here on corner number 2 down the backstretch right now. And foregoing any more cautions, this will be the last break in the action that we'll see here in the Pultz Poppers 200. As Adam Newbert, our race leader, slowly but surely is going to creep his way down the backstretch right now. Has Chris Cinnamon to his outside. Robbie Richards right behind him. Joey Doucette right there in that 16 machine. And then it goes to drivers that we can't help but look at closely. Nathan Maurer all of a sudden is inside the top 5 in the 971 machine. Stephen Light, last week's winner there in the 97, to his inside. We have quite the group of drivers here at the top of the grid. Also, Jacob Klinkart right there in the 5 machine has raced one heck of a race here tonight. Hasn't led any laps, Hunter, but a very fast truck indeed. As Adam Newbert will take the green flag once again. We are back racing here in the great state of Texas. Down to corner number 1, Adam Newbert, our race leader.
Adam Newbert can check one thing off that list, and that is a restart. He is going to get the lead back in down to turn 1 and 2. He's going to be leading the field. Running in that second spot is going to be the 48 of Robbie Richards, and to his outside is going to be the 3 of Chris Cinnamon, racing side by side down in turn 3, trying to chase down Newbert in that 4 machine.
Huge run out of Robbie Richards there in the 48. Almost had a run on the 4 on the entry of 3 and 4 as we come off. Corner number 4, Adam Newbert will take us to the start-finish line as our race leader down to corner number 1 with 11 laps to go.
Newbert's got to do all that he can. He's got to be looking in that mirror, looking at the side-by-side battles behind him. Right now, he's got to worry about trying to put together 11 consistent, clean laps here as they're racing 2 by 2 throughout the field behind him.
Jacob Klinkart in that 5 machine is making mama say, there goes that man again, because right now he is inside the top 5 in that 5 machine. A lot of speed behind our leader, Adam Newbert. As we mentioned, he is probably very, very nervous of the amount of speed he has behind him here on the apex of 1 and 2 with 10 laps to go. We are down the backstretch.
Klinkart dove down into 3 and 4, trying to look at the inside of 48 of Robbie Richards, thought better of it, backed off, and will try to regroup and get back at it again as they have just 10 laps to go, this time by coming to 9 to go in the Pultz Poppers 200 here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Adam Newbert in that 4 machine. We spoke to him just a little while ago. He said, keep it clean, hold off the speed behind me, and maybe I can take this checkered flag. Well, he's got a lot of work to do as we come off of corner number 2. A lot of speed. We take a look at Jacob Klinkart in that 5 machine, currently in 4th. Stephen Light in that 97, currently in 5th. A lot of speed inside the top 5 right now as we come off of corner number 4 down the front stretch.
They're single file through the top 6 trucks of Doucette. Right now, Robbie Richards stuck tight to the 4 of Newbert. They're going to drive through the grass. Contact is made through the left rear quarter panel of Newbert. They're going to keep it straight and move on from there. A little bit of momentum loss as the 3 of Chris Cinnamon is going to close in on the 48 of Richards, trying to peak high and low. He's going to dive down into 3 on below that 48 machine, trying to get by for that second position.
Chris Cinnamon will have the position. No, he gets a little bit of the speed wobbles as well. That's going to kill just a little bit of momentum out of Chris Cinnamon in that 3 machine. Still with that little bit of a run, still trying to build on that right now. As we go down to corner number 1, he has to check up big time on the apex of 1 and 2 to avoid contact with the 48. That's going to allow Jacob Klinkart now to get to the back bumper of Chris Cinnamon in that 3. He will go to the inside here on corner number 3. See if Jacob Klinkart can increase his position once again here tonight with 7 laps to go.
Yeah, that little bit of stack up, that was going to bring in Klinkart, Light, and Doucette all right up to the back of Cinnamon. That's going to leave Adam Newbert to check out a little bit, give himself a little bit of breathing room. Robbie Richards still trying to chase down your race leader of Adam Newbert. Right now, battle for 4th position as Klinkart gets around Cinnamon for that 3. Battle for 4th right now between Chris Cinnamon and Stephen Light, and Joey Doucette in that 16 trying to peek his way in.
Joey Doucette's going to push that 97 along just a little bit to get around the 3 of Chris Cinnamon here as we come off of 4. Down the front stretch, make it 5 laps to go. Here in the Pultz Poppers 200 down in corner number 1. No change in the lead, but a lot of moving pieces right now inside the top 5. As you see Stephen Light in the 97, Jacob Klinkart in the 5, Robbie Richards in the 48, and our race leader, Adam Newbert in the 4, taking us down the backstretch down into corner number 3.
Yeah, right now, Robbie Richards in that 48. He is closing the gap on Newbert, trying to make something happen here as they're going to come by to lap 137. Just 4 laps to go, this time by my bad. Robbie Richards not letting Newbert get too out far in front of him as he's going to give him a little bump down into 1 and 2, trying to move him up off the bottom. Obviously, right now seems like to be the preferred line through 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, trying to chase down your leader, Adam Newbert.
Right now, we can feel the heat. It's getting even hotter here in the great state of Texas as we have quite the battle ensuing right now for the race lead with 3 laps to go. Throw up those 3s. Rest in peace to Dale Earnhardt as we have a battle for a race victory right now between Adam Newbert and Robbie Richards as we come off of 2 down the backstretch.
And you got to keep in mind those tires. They're going to have we see a little bit of smoke from Robbie Richards on that outside wall. That's going to allow Jacob Klinkart to kind of close in a little bit. But you got to keep in mind those tires. They've been running 12, 13 laps on them. If you can save it just a lap or 2 shy of what everyone else can, you're going to have a little bit of an advantage. But right now, Adam Newbert just starting to check out from Robbie Richards a little bit with just 2 laps to go that time by across the line.
2 more times around this great speedway here in Texas. As now Jacob Klinkart in that 5 machine is going to go to the low side of the 48. It's going to feel a little bit of a bump from the 97 to Stephen Light. That's going to open the door for Stephen Light in the 97 machine to pass Jacob Klinkart, who has ran one heck of a race here tonight. Oh my goodness, we have contact on the front stretch as the white flag is in the air down the corner number 1.
Right now, Adam Newbert looking to ask himself paper or plastic because he is checked out and gone from Robbie Richards down into turn number 3. But Stephen Light and Joey Doucette still battling for that number 3 spot down into turn number 3. Contact made between Klinkart and Cinnamon. Cinnamon gets by for 4th, but right now, all eyes on the number 4 machine coming off of turn number 4, grabbing the win at Texas in the Pultz Poppers 200.
As Tupac once said, all eyes on me, and all eyes are on the 4 machine of Adam Newbert as he wins. Here tonight, Texas really came out of nowhere here tonight, Hunter, amongst all the other drivers who led laps here in this race. Adam Newbert really kept it calm, cool, and collected, and now coast to some big Texas barbecue and a big Texas win here tonight in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series.
Yeah, looking at the rest of your finishing order, Adam Newbert going to come home with the win. Robbie Richards going plus 14 on the grid tonight in that 2nd spot. Joey Doucette going to grab another podium, another 3rd place finish for him tonight. And Stephen Light coming home 4th, and Chris Cinnamon rounding out your top 5 here tonight.
Yeah, rounding out the rest of the top 10, you see Blake Lothian's going to finish 6th. Nathan Maurer in 7th. Jacob Klinkart basically clinked off a few things there at the end of this race here. Tonight's going to finish 8th. Jose Luis Rivera is going to finish 9th. And Bill Hales will be our biggest mover of the race, up 22 spots from the drop of the green flag. We'll finish in the 10th position. But as we watch Adam Newbert and that 4 machine burn it down on the front stretch here tonight, Hunter, that makes our 3rd different winner here in 3 weeks' time here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series.
For sure. Just a lot of talent throughout the field. We almost didn't know who was going to win this one, even at the start of this last stage. Different drivers on different pit strategies, and Adam Newbert with the winning truck here tonight, just absolutely burning the tires, whatever's left of tires on that thing.
Burn those Goodyear Eagles down. You can't take them with you. You might as well burn them down while you got them. And looking at those lap times there, you know, Adam Newbert wasn't one of the fastest trucks out there, but just everything just seemed to have fallen in place with that 4 machine, whether it was pit strategy, Whether it was battling for a position, whether it was mishaps by other leaders, everything just fell into place for that four machine to crack into victory lane here tonight. But as we watch Adam Newbert celebrate, run that backward celebration lap here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network, we'll step aside for a short break and we'll be right back to interview those podium finishers here tonight in the Pultz Poppers 200. Welcome back, race fans, to the Pultz Poppers 200 here live on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. This is the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. I am William Tiller here tonight. I've been joined by Hunter Parsons up here in the booth. And Hunter, we just saw the conclusion of a fantastic race that was just won by Adam Newbert in that four machine.
Yeah, we saw a lot of respectful driving between him and Robbie Richards, both trying to battle for that race win. Robbie laid a few bumpers on him, tried to do it cleanly, couldn't do it cleanly, so he just kind of backed off. Definitely could have done it a few different ways, but Adam Newbert coming away with the victory, a much needed victory, especially after last week in Pocono.
For sure, but I believe it is time to catch up with our podium finishers here tonight as those official results now cross along your screen here live on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. And our third place finisher here tonight was a man that was consistently inside the top 10, broke the top 5 a couple times, but here tonight finishes third. Joey Doucette in that 16 machine. Take us through your night here in Texas.
A lot of ups and downs, but I mean, I stayed consistent into the top 10, led a couple of laps there in the stage 3. But restarts killed me. I got to work on my restarts. I started P2 on one of those cautions and fell back right straight to 4th. Then another caution happened, fell right back to 6th, and I was like, I just couldn't. But that last caution kind of helped me. I was like, well, we got like about 14 laps left. I knew I had short run speed, not long run speed, so it kind of helped. But I apologize to Clinkhart on that last lap. I just pushed up and put him in the wall, so I do apologize to him. And then I got a run on Steven, and just glad to take it a top 3 again, back to back for Mission 2.
Yeah, and looking at where you started here tonight, Joey, you finished here tonight up 10 spots from the drop of the green flag. So through all those struggles there on the restart and everything that you had to go through here tonight, still finished about 10 spots from the drop of that green flag. But Joey, through all those struggles and everything you had here tonight, we talked about here tonight, it was a little bit hard to battle for position. And in a race that didn't really have too many, multi-car pileups or too many caution flags that flew, how hard was it to pass for position here tonight?
Pretty tough. The first 2 stages started. I was using the brake into turn 1, but it was just too slow. And then like I started experimenting of not using the brake in turn one and just, giving that large arc into the turn one and then just gassing it up at the right time and getting that runoff turn two and then down the backstretch. I mean, that's where your passes were going to be made. Or if you can get a runoff four, I mean, that it was slick all night. I mean, cars were tail sliding all night long. And it takes a lot of talent to not, hold on to a truck that's like loose like 100% of the time.
Yeah, well, you definitely held onto it here tonight. There, Joey. Speaking with Joey, you said our third place finisher here tonight. And Joey, with that podium finish, we love to give you drivers the opportunity to shout out anybody you had watching here tonight. I believe you may have had a couple fans in the chat live on YouTube or any sponsors that made this race possible for you here tonight.
NRE Power, Mission 2, my teammates, Ron, Jonathan, Bill, Ed. Like to thank Triple M for sponsoring the league. Mike's a great guy. Mission 1, Race Cars, NASRA 360 Racing Network, Balanch's Towing, Pultz Poppers, Butt Kicker, and Hoopty's Garage. I mean, without them guys, this league wouldn't be possible. They're great back for us, and I appreciate everyone that's involved. Brady, too. He has a lot of faith in me. He started Mission 2, and I took a break last season. I had to get in the right mind, and Brady came to me. I was like, hey, I want you on my team, and I appreciate everything that he's done for me and everybody that's contacted me when I took the time off to bring me back. And congratulations to Adam and Robbie for a 1-2 finish. Great guys. Everybody in this league is a great guys. I mean, it's like a family,
Yes, sir, indeed. And I'm sure they're proud of that run out of you here tonight, finishing third through all the adversity, through everything you had to go through here tonight. You cracked into the podium here with the third place finish. But Joey, we look forward to seeing what you have for us in store next week here. You work on those restarts. I'm sure we'll see you in victory lane here pretty soon, the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. But we appreciate you taking the time with us here, my man. Have a great rest of your weekend here. Take this with a little bit of a celebration here with this podium finish. I'm sure you'll do even better next week. Joey, great job here tonight.
I appreciate it, fellas. You have a great night.
Yes, sir. And that was Joey Doucette, our third place finisher here tonight, Hunter. But I believe you're catching up with one of the biggest movers of tonight's race, Robbie Richards, inside that 48.
Yeah, Robbie in that 48 machine, coming home second to Adam Newbert. But overall, a very good run out of him tonight. We talked about him a lot throughout the race. And overall, one of the fastest trucks just based off of lap times. And like you mentioned, up quite a few spots from his original starting position. Robbie, you did what you could to try and get around Newbert there at the end, but just not able to pull it off. Can you kind of just take us through that last 12 lap stint or so, trying to race as hard as possible?
Yeah, man. After that last restart, I was able to get ahead of Joey before that caution came out, and it put me in prime position to be where I needed to be to get Adam. And I was just hoping that was going to be the last restart. And because I knew if it wasn't the last restart, I'd be starting up top and probably be in the same position Joey was in. But yeah, going through the laps there, man, I could get to Adam. I didn't want to. I've got a lot of respect for Adam, so I mean, I didn't want to, accidentally hit him too hard or something like that because these trucks are too finicky. You hit him too hard, he ends up spinning out or something like that. Didn't want to wreck him by any means, so I tried to get to him. He was throwing the blocks as he should, being he's leader. Try to get up under him, but couldn't make it stick to the bottom. I didn't want to get in a bad position going into one when I thought maybe I could do it and end up either wrecking us both or screwing myself and letting Joey or one of the other guys get by. But yeah, I was playing catch up after that, and then I think Clean Car got a pretty good run from somewhere, man, and he got up under me and had to battle him for a little bit, and then got back around him and then trying to catch back to Adam. If I got into one with him on the last lap, if I was closer, I would have gave him a pretty good bump to the going in, just because of the type of way the way you go into that turn. It could maybe be a little bit of aggressive, but props to Adam, man. He done what he needed to do. He apologized for cutting my nose off, but I was just that's racing when you're racing for the win like that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. You mentioned a lot of respect between you guys, and overall, a lot of respect through everyone, because we talked to Joey and he said everyone's kind of like a big family here in the NASRA Racing League, and not really want to almost take out a buddy there for a race win. But when it comes down to it, that last lap, it's almost like a no holds barred, try and do what you can if you're close enough. But overall, a very respectable run from you tonight. What can we expect from the 48 machine going into Phoenix next week?
I've ran there could be here lately, so I've figured it out. It depends on whether I know last season we ran the old track, and I'm not very good with it. But if we're running the new track or whatever you want to call it, I've done a lot of practice there, so I think I can figure it out. Keep it I thought I had Texas pretty good, but it raced totally different than what it does at night. So depending on how Phoenix is, heat and all that stuff, it's going to play a lot of factors. Going back to what Joey said, I mean, yeah, this group. I mean, a lot of these guys have been here since it started, so we've all kind of grown together, kind of raced together. Got a lot of respect for everyone. We all have our moments where we get ticked off at each other, and but we all get over it. But yeah, so going into Phoenix, so it's going to be fun. Depends on I guess if I get the right groove again, like I did tonight.
For sure. Well, a very good run from the 48 machine tonight, coming home second. The time is yours. Any sponsors, shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
Yeah, for sure. I always want to thank Triple M, Michael, Michael for putting his business and everything. NRE Power Systems, Pultz Poppers, Hoopty's Garage, Blanchard's Towing, Brady, for he does a remarkable job. The man stays busy making sure his league runs right, and he does a remarkable job at it. All the guys at Mission One, I want to thank Nate. He gives a ton of information. Michael, Trey, Kyle. Kyle didn't have a good night. Devin Painter, he was running up there for a while. I'm not sure where he finished, but Mission One, definitely we've improved a lot this season, and so going to keep it going forward.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Robbie, and good luck next week at Phoenix if we don't get to talk to you before that.
Oh, yeah, I also want to thank you guys for the broadcast. I cannot forget y'all guys. Y'all have done a lot. Y'all started, this season doing the broadcast for us. So I want to thank you guys for doing that as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Robbie, and we'll let you get going here and celebrate that second place.
Thank you, guys.
And now, Will, I believe you're going to be catching up with your race winner.
Yes, sir. A driver who quietly just eased his way through the grid, got up inside the top 5, got that lead position as well, and never looked back from the top. Things always look better from the top of the tower, and here tonight, Adam Newbert, you get that bright, shiny Texas-sized belt buckle with this race victory here tonight. Take us through how you were able to get the job done here tonight.
I'll freaking take it, man. I can't believe it. I don't know, man. I felt like, sneaking into the top 5. I felt like we were up there all race long, probably one of the better trucks, especially on the long run. We were running down Stephen Light there at the end of the first stage. If I would have had, if I wouldn't have had to race Ted and Keith so hard to try to get past them for second, I probably could have ended up winning stage 1. Felt like we had the better long run truck. I just needed a couple more laps in stage 1, and then stage 2. Justin and Chris Cinnamon were racing in front of me, so I didn't really want to interfere with Justin's race. So felt like I had a little bit of a better truck than them at stage 2. Got second in both the stages, and then stage 3. Man, the green flag pit stops. My teammates right there before the caution come out, when during the green flag pit stop cycle, my teammates kept saying, "Man, they're wrecking." Taylor, I think, come over the radio and said they're wrecking. And so I was like, "All right, well, I'm gonna stay out. I'm gonna keep staying out." And then finally the caution come out, so that was the right call. And then it was just all about holding the lead. I think the first caution when we went back to green with like 15 to go or so. That one, whenever y'all interviewed me, that one really helped to try to get the laps cut down a little bit. And then I just went as hard as I could for 12 laps. I was kind of nervous about the last full 12 lap run because we have been a long run truck all night. I wasn't really racing very hard on the short runs, but everybody else was just pretty fast in the short runs, and I was more of a long run, so I was pretty worried about the end of the race right there.
Yes, sir. And I meant that in a way. You quietly kept your truck in the mix, and you just ran through it there. You were second, almost caught Stephen Light there at the end of stage number 1. Stage number 2, you were also fast, but you weren't one of these drivers really pressing the issue too much. You knew you were fast. You knew you had the speed. Was there any point in this race where you felt like maybe if I just press it just a little bit, I can take the lead? Or were you okay with just sort of laying things out, letting things play out in front of you, knowing that you could put this truck in victory lane?
Yeah, to myself. Well, definitely in the stage 2, I felt like maybe I could have gotten around Justin and Chris, but I wanted to help out Justin too. But when the last stage started and everybody, I kind of let everybody by again, just trying to save my tires. I think I was 6th, and there's about 5 trucks in front of me. I questioned it then if I should have gone harder, but I mean, I guess it was the right call to make. I ended up being able to, right before the green flag pit stops, I was able to pass Joey for the lead. So it worked out at the end because we just had the better long run truck.
Yeah, very great truck indeed here tonight. Speaking with tonight's race winner, Adam Newbert inside that 4 machine. And Adam, we look forward to next week, not to spoil your victory here tonight at Texas, but we stay on this West Coast swing. We go to Phoenix next week. If you can carry this momentum into next week's race.
I like Phoenix. Phoenix is a halfway decent track for me. I've had some pretty good runs there. I think the last time we went there, NASRA, I got 2nd. So maybe we can have another good run there.
There we go. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure all the fans watching along with us here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network are looking forward to it as well. As Adam, you make it 3 different winners in 3 weeks' time here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. But as we have you here down in Victory Lane, is there anybody that you'd like to shout out here tonight that may have been watching this excellent run out of that Ford machine, or any sponsors that made this race victory possible for you here tonight?
Kind of sucks that last week at Pocono I missed a shift, because we were having a good run last week too. Yeah, I felt like it could have been, last week I felt like it could have been a top 5, pretty fast, running top 3 in the stages and everything. But I guess tonight I got a new sponsor this season, Ladanco. It's actually my aunt and uncle's construction company based out of Shreveport, Louisiana. So they come on board and help to sponsor me this season. Got to give a huge shout out to them. If you live in the Louisiana area and you need something built, they can do it. They specialize in just about everything. Got to thank my team owner Jeff Sickles for giving me a ride and everything, let me race with him. He puts up with me and all my crap. So I got to give him a huge thanks. My teammates Stephen Thomas, Blake Lothian. I think Blake finished 6th. So Stephen Thomas and Justin Lumpkin, I think they had some bad luck at the end of that race. They got caught up in one of those wrecks. And then I got to thank the team sponsors, Millie's Landing, A's Lawn and Landscaping, Darren's Nail Gun Repair, and I think that's most of the main sponsors, I think. And I just thank Brady and my girlfriend for watching, and all my friends and family watching.
Yes, sir, indeed. Well, they watched quite a show here tonight. Adam, you touched on it, how you were one of the fastest trucks out here tonight, just waited your turn. And once that opportunity arose for you, you made the most of it here tonight with a huge race victory. A big congratulations from us here at NASRA on this win here tonight. Adam, go celebrate here tonight. Go enjoy the rest of this weekend, and we'll see you right back here next Friday night in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. Great win here at Texas.
Yeah, Jinx didn't work on me. Thank God.
That's right.
Next week.
Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. And that was tonight's race winner, Adam Newbert, inside that 4 machine. And Hunter, here tonight, we had a Texas-sized, action-packed race here with multiple race leaders. Even Joey Doucette touched on how he led a few laps here tonight. Multiple lead changes. Some drivers who led laps there in stage number 1 didn't finish the way that they ran there the first half of this race here tonight. Any final thoughts about the Pultz Poppers 200 here tonight from Texas?
Yeah, other than Daytona so far this season, I mean, obviously Daytona lead shakeups all the time with different drafting. Last week at Pocono, we kind of saw 2, 3 trucks kind of dominate the whole field. And tonight we got our first glimpse of other drivers such as Newbert, Richards, Doucette, all different drivers being able to take charge, lead the field, lead a bunch of laps. And ultimately it just kind of came down to who could save their tires a little bit better there at the end.
Yeah, what a fantastic race it was here tonight from the Texas Motor Speedway. Here tonight, once again, this has been a presentation of the NASRA 360 Racing Network for myself, William Tiller, Hunter Parsons up here in the booth, and my man Adam Flieger, the man behind the decks, making all those awesome camera angles possible for us here tonight. We want to thank everybody for watching. We want to thank everybody for being engaged in tonight's race as well. Cannot wait to see what next week has in store as we head to the desert. That is Phoenix Motor Speedway. We'll see if Adam Newbert in that Ford machine can make it back to back here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. But we want to wish everybody a great rest of your weekend. Once again, congratulations to the Ford machine of Adam Newbert. We'll see everybody back here on the track next Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great night, everybody.